All right, full disclosure, I don't usually do this because this is a disclaimer, okay? This podcast, there are particular moments where Jesse and I go off the deep end and we say some outrageous things that we definitely don't mean. And look, when there's no cameras rolling and there's nothing recording you and you don't have something that's going to live forever on the internet, you don't have to do stuff like this. But because this is one of those moments, I just want to say that if you're not someone who can take a joke, or if you're not someone who can appreciate just boys talking about stuff that boys talk about, maybe this isn't the podcast for you. And with that said, moving forward, everything that we do say, take with a grain of salt. It's just fun, it's funny, and we probably don't mean what we're saying. With that said, if you are down for a bit of a boysy chat, then enjoy. The next 2 hours have definitely got some pretty cool moments in there. Anyway, hope you enjoy.
Yeah, shout out to Little Spencer. Probably one of the best coffees in Bunbury.
Dude, right up there. That's like Little Spencer Barloo. To be honest, though, full of beans. Yeah, I know. Your car's so big that you can't fit in the full of beans drive-through, so you have no idea. Full of beans coffee is, yeah, I know. It's like saying your dick's too big. It's like, okay, yeah. Well, I guess I'll have to live with that then. Yeah. But full of beans coffee is genuinely so consistently good. You got to ask yourself, what's a good coffee though? Is it the taste or is it consistency of flavor?
For me personally, I would say it's taste, and I want to walk away feeling like I've had a coffee. I don't just want the taste. I'm there to feel caffeinated.
Yeah.
In some places, I'm not sure what beans they're using or what's different.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some cafes or some places that make coffees, and you go away and you're like, I feel like I've had something.
Yeah, dishwater or I don't know.
Something's got me going. That's what I'm after, the taste and the feeling. You got to remember caffeine's a drug at the end of the day. Whether people like that or not, I personally like that because it gets me cognitively a lot better than what I would wake up at.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? It's like the definition of a drug, well, I think you and I have talked about this at length, to be honest. Definition of a drug is something that changes your state of consciousness in one way or another.
Correct.
And then typically the severity of which it changes your level of consciousness is like aligns with it's either it's legality or it's like what is it when something has like a shadow of a different like it's if something has it's not an aroma. It's like when something has a thing about it that people are like, oh, we've got to avoid that. Like people are just like they go like acid, like, oh, that's crazy because it takes you so far away from your consciousness. It's like it's such a overwhelming thing when you do it, compared to coffee where like anyone can drink a coffee.
What do you reckon's on the borderline of could be legal, but is currently illegal?
Alcohol.
That's not far from, because alcohol's legal. I mean, what's illegal? That's not that far off from coffee. But you could have it. You're going to be okay.
Mushrooms. Yeah.
So are we that far away from pulling up to a drive-through, just getting a little microdose to kickstart the day?
Dude, that's 100% for me. Mushrooms is like something that I could have every day. You know what I mean? Just a small amount every day. And it's like, it's almost, because the thing about coffee is it acts the same way no matter how many years you've been drinking it. Like, if you smoke marijuana over and over and over and over again, you get to a point you need more and more and more because your body gets more tolerant. You can sit on 1 cup of coffee a day. A lot of people are like, oh, I have 7 cups a day. It's like, yeah, because you have no discipline and that's on you. But you can have 1 cup of coffee a day. And if you wait 2 hours after you wake up, you're hydrated, maybe you go do some exercise and then you have a cup of coffee, it will have the exact same effect every day. If you do the same thing with marijuana, especially every day with no tolerance break, you need more and more to get the same feeling, and you actually get to a point where the results are diminishing in that even if you increase your dosage, sometimes you don't even feel what you would have originally felt off just a small dose. And I feel like mushrooms is in the same category that I haven't done consecutive. To be honest, I don't have a huge history with mushrooms the same way I do coffee or marijuana, medicinal marijuana.
Allegedly.
It's all allegedly. This is all for entertainment purposes. I feel like mushrooms is one of those things where you can just have like a microdose of mushrooms fairly consistently and get the same result fairly consistently.
I personally reckon it's a state of mind. It's where you're at. Like if you've got a lot going on in your life, I think mushrooms can surface a lot of problems that you may be trying to run away from. And I can't imagine many people going through a drive-through. You know, a lot of people like to push things down. Imagine you go through the drive-through to start your day, have a microdose, and it just surfaces everything you've been hiding. You're on your way to work, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, but exactly a microdose doesn't do that, you don't think? Do you think?
I think it definitely has the potential to, yeah, for sure. I think obviously the higher dose that you go with anything, it probably is going to have a more of a psychological impact. And I think mushrooms are different for everyone. And that's probably why you can't make a drive-through mushroom.
Oh, okay.
You know, you're going to get a different experience. But you could probably say, if you got like, say, 100 people, gave 100 people a coffee, same amount of caffeine, you're probably relatively going to get the same experience. Maybe some people get some anxiety. Maybe they don't have enough glucose ratio. Because apparently if you have caffeine, glucose, and saturated fat, your likelihood of getting anxiety from the caffeine becomes way less. You can imagine there's people getting like long blacks or just like sweeteners in there. If your liver's completely depleted of glucose and you have caffeine, the likelihood of having anxiety is like
straight up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think with mushrooms, it doesn't matter if you've had, you know, food, all these things. It really depends on the person. And that's probably why we can't do drive-through mushrooms yet.
Yeah, we'll put a pin in that. I mean,
yeah.
After Joe Rogan's deal with Trump and bringing in Ibogaine and bringing psychedelics to be descheduled and
shout out Joe Rogan.
Yeah, he listens to this, so it helps. But I think it's the same thing. Like if you get 100 blokes and give them all 6 cans of Bundy, they're all going to act a little bit different.
Yeah, 100%. Especially me. I don't drink, so that would not be good.
I got a mate. He drinks exclusively Bundy. His personality and character gets better the more Bundy he drinks.
I reckon there is allegedly funnier people that drink a lot more than the average person.
What do you mean?
Like the more like drinks that you maybe have over the consecutively, say a couple of years, I reckon the funnier you become.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but then you have to take into account what makes a person funny. I believe what makes a person funny is obviously the aspiration to be humorous to other people. I think there's a little bit of like people who want to be funny typically want to either like fit in or they want to impress people. There's a certain amount of like ego attached to it, but there's also a certain amount of like analytical, critical thinking because it's like to observe and then to find a perspective of the observation that you give to someone that's outside of what they other would have observed, and that's what makes it funny because it's like, oh yeah, that is that, you know? Or it's like, you know, having a callback to something. That's a really common comedic tool is to do a callback, and it's like if we talk about something and then we go half an hour down the track and then I bring it back to the front of your mind, it's like that sort of like, oh, don't forget that thing that we observed over here. I'm going to re-observe it in a different light over here and try and make it contextual to what we're talking about now. And that connection, that relationship is what's funny, right? So let's go back to what you said. Someone who drinks over a period of time, let's say 2 years, does that person then have more life experience, put themselves in more situations where they have more interactions and transactions and experiences that they then have to pull, that they then can pull from to make other people laugh? Like a good drunk story is brilliant. You know, you get Gage Edgecombe and ask him to recall like when he went to a house party when he was 15. The dude's funny. The dude wants to make people laugh, and he's been in crazy situations where he's been drunk as well. It's like a really good collection of things to put together to make someone laugh, right?
Yeah, definitely. But I would say, have you ever met an alcoholic that's not funny? I'm not trying to encourage this.
Brother, yes. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
Okay.
Like an aggressive middle-aged dude who nothing has gone well in his life, who drinks alcohol all the time. Like, yeah, dude, alcohol's a depressant. Pull that microphone right in front of you. It's to the side of you. And pull it across and in front of you.
Damn, I would say that's in front of me right there.
Yeah, that's good. You're getting it.
Maybe it's my own experiences, but I've always found alcoholics to be really funny.
Interesting.
Not in terms of like where they're at in life.
Yeah.
But just
not the results.
No, not the results.
Yeah.
No, just like talking to them and their like way of like just engaging in conversation and talking about their day or subjects, like the way that it's very like natural comedic to me. And I'm like, is this from all the alcohol? Like why they almost have that like natural comedic feeling about them.
Interesting.
But maybe it's just my experiences who I bumped into that are definitely alcoholics.
Yeah,
because let's say functioning alcoholics is probably what I'm trying to refer to here.
Yeah, of course.
Like a functioning alcoholic that still holds down a job, still like contributes to society, they're still able to function in a way that we would probably say a normal member of society functions. But they're an alcoholic, so they're functioning.
A functioning alcohol. All right, so definition time. Functioning, job, probably relationship, maybe kids. Like holding on to enough strands of, like tethering themselves to enough parts of life that you go functioning.
Just say like an average citizen, whatever they contribute to society, just add in being a functioning alcoholic.
Right. And then alcoholic being like...
That's a good question.
10 drinks a day?
Yeah, that's where would the definition be?
Well, dude, this is the thing, right? So a person who drinks 10 drinks a day and then gets to the weekend, it's like, oh, it's the weekend, I'll have a carton over the weekend. If that's their normal, the definition of alcoholism changes in their circle of friends because they hang out with other people who do that, compared to like the medical definition of alcoholism, compared to our definition of alcoholism. So for the sake of the conversation, what do you think it is?
I mean, in construction, it's probably 20 beers a day.
That's like George's story. He went to the doctors and the doctor's like, how much do you drink? He's like, I don't know, like 8 a day and then probably like 20 on the weekends, like the weekend days. Doctor's like, that's not, and then when he told all the boys, they're like, cunt, don't tell the doctor that you drink fucking 60 beers a week, you know?
Wait, so he's a functioning alcoholic?
That was it. Well, this is the thing. Like, that's when he was like 16, 17 and an apprentice. George, I'm sorry if you're listening to this and I got that wrong, but you know?
George is pretty funny though.
Yeah, George is hilarious.
So like so far I'm right.
Dude, yeah. I wouldn't call him an alcoholic though. He doesn't drink that much now.
Oh, okay. So
just when he was apprentice, you know what I mean?
I see. Yeah. That's fair enough. Less responsibility as an apprentice.
Yeah.
In fact, if you can hold down, like I'm going to say this as well, if you can hold down a skilled job under the influence of a drug, I would say in some terms you're far superior than someone that can only hold down a job that's sober, in my opinion.
Yeah. Dude, I built a business smoking weed all day, every day.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the people in society that crumble under the influence, they're kind of less superior. I mean, if you can hold down a job or like drive sober, that's pretty cool.
Can you do it drunk?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? We're not encouraging this though. Like you should never drive under the influence of anything. But hilarious. If someone was and they were doing everything that they should be doing, come on.
Yeah, I tell you what though, I think there's like on a serious note, I have like a weird relationship with challenge, and I think that part of me smoking marijuana constantly and then challenging myself to do things while I was under that headspace was part of like, this is really hard. To be in social settings is really hard. To be in society is really hard. To like do my job is hard. To build a business is hard. What's crazy is as soon as I stopped doing that, my life got so infinitely easy that everything started doing extremely better overnight. Outside of the habit, like the physical habit of going and doing that once every hour, once every 2 hours, it was so easy just to do really fucking well because it's like I could just make phone calls, I just jump in the car, do something. I could, draft up an email and send it. I could go out and problem solve something. There is like a lot to say about, all right, if that person can handle that sort of thing while they're under the influence, does that make them superior? Well, what's being superior is like if you can't handle that and then immediately stop and keep on doing it. Like I see that obviously because I've lived it. I see that as a superpower, man. Like being able to smoke cigarettes all weekend and then just Sunday 3 o'clock put the last one out and go, nah, I'm done, and not touch them for 6 months. That's a superpower.
100%. To get addicted to something and stop.
Yeah,
I think that's something that we all kind of need. To form a habit and have to break a habit. That's something that will make you better. 100%.
It's as essential as getting your heart broken as a teenager. If you don't do it, you kind of grow up a bit twisted,
100%. Yeah, everyone should probably go out there and get addicted to nicotine. Just get addicted and then stop.
Interesting.
If you can get through that, you can probably get through a lot of other challenges in life.
Write that down.
Yeah, get addicted to... Ted.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
What do you think is a drug that's right on the cusp of legality that could become legal? All right, guys, let's take a little break. If you're looking for some financial advice that is actually personal to your situation, is practical to your life, and is built around the goals that you and your family have set, you're going to want to talk to the team at Kumbana Financial. They help individuals and families in the Southwest with superannuation, investments, retirement planning, and personal insurance. Now, I've personally dealt with Cabana Financial and found the results to be very satisfactory. I find that it's handy having someone on your team in the financial part of your life. So, if you're keen to get some professional advice around your financial goals, get in touch with the team at Cabana Financial today to book your free initial chat. You can find their contact information in the description below, or you can jump on www.cabanafinancial.com.au. And don't forget to tell them that Jake from the Black Ink podcast sent you. And now, back to the podcast.
Oh, what was that one we were talking about?
Kratom.
Yeah, I think Kratom has potential to, okay, let's backstep a bit. When you look at painkillers as a whole, some painkillers are quite toxic on organs, right? I find it strange that some plant medicines like Kratom can mimic some other painkillers that are patented that don't have the same toxicity load as the drugs like Panadol or Nurofen and all this. If you're in pain, the objective is to reduce the pain.
Yeah.
So when you've got plant medicine out there that is like 100% study after study proven that it decreases pain, why are we not letting that on the market?
Yeah, well,
and let me just
capitalism.
also say, like, I think a democracy and an economy combined is a beautiful thing because society as a whole can go, right, I really like XYZ, and then money flows to XYZ, and then you can kind of look third personally, oh, looks like as a whole we're supporting this and we're funding this and we have a requirement for this.
Yeah.
So when they start like banning certain things without really giving a proper explanation, but then they pass other things, then if you go and get those things, on the back of it, it says, but only take this much per hour, and it's patented, and we know how much money it creates. And he goes, okay, so why is that more superior and better for you than something that is grown out of the ground and doesn't have a toxic load? I think things like that as a whole, if you would like branch out and think about everything that's like that, I think that's on the brink of being legal. I think we're in this weird domain still where, especially in like America, I would say all these drug companies heavily influence who's elected and who can do what. There's so much money getting passed around under the table. I think that actually influences what should probably be legalized, what's on the cusp. You know, like, say 20 years ago, marijuana was one of the worst things you could talk about in America. Now you can just buy it in a shop.
Yeah.
Like that was something that was on the cusp. And I think there's so many other plant medicines out there that fall under that category.
Yeah, I think you find that like democratic capitalism pushes both agendas though, because preface this with there is pure evil in some scenarios. Okay,
you get like a example.
In general, there are companies like they did OxyContin.
Oh yeah, that's a good
Pfizer, right?
Yeah.
So like, there's that family that.
I don't think that was Pfizer though. I can't remember who that was.
You know the family, the Sackler. Is it Sacklers?
Sacklers, yeah.
Like,
good story.
To a certain extent, that story includes evil people that made evil choices, right? That's my preface. I understand that. But also take into account that there are things the way they are because 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, sometimes even longer than that, there were courageous men and sometimes women that started businesses that pushed in one particular direction. They got so fucking good at what they did that they got a power, whether it was by design or by coincidence, right? Now, let me give you an example. I'm 5 years into this business, right? And I'm in a position now where with my 1,000 listeners that I have every week that tune into this podcast, I can say something and it can slightly affect how people spend their money. Maybe it's not a huge amount of money and maybe it's not a huge part of what they spend every week, month or year, but I can say, hey guys, I do t-shirts, and instead of going over there to that guy that they've always gone to for t-shirts, they come to me instead for whatever reason. They trust me, they like me, they want to support me, they know my backstory, they know my friends, whatever it might be. Now, you want to exaggerate that over years. I've been doing this for 5 years and it's 2 people. Now imagine you've got a company that you started with 10 people and in 5 years' time it's got 50 people. And in 20 years' time it's got 1,000 people. And within that, maybe you're in an industry that affects a lot of people, like pharmaceuticals, right? And we've got this one particular product that we're going to try and get better and better and better and better and better. And the whole concept of any business, any company is to make more money than the year before it, to employ more people, to get more of your product sold and in people's pockets or in people's bodies or in people's houses so that you can continue to make money, right? Somewhere along the lines, there are opportunities for you to maybe cast a shadow over the competition or maybe just buy them so they don't exist and get rid of their product or patent over the top of it or incorporate it into your thing. Sometimes you can even affect things like the education system. So the way people are taught as they're growing up through their neuroplastic stage, how to feel or think about a certain industry, product, whatever you want, right? And that is what happens to humans, right? So to say that there is good and bad out there, there are people who do things for the right reason and the wrong reason. That as a whole on average is a breakdown of the average human experience. And what most people don't grasp is they say there's they do this so that they get more control and they get more power. Well, they is the part of you that you don't like that other people have discovered and exaggerated over time through the vehicle of a business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you explained that very well.
So now we sit here thinking we know fucking anything, Jesse, when we don't. Right? Because there are people that have been pushing in a particular direction, times by probably 1.52 million powerful people in whatever industry, what they're doing, right? They're actually competing with each other, and we're just the people down the bottom, the consumers that are powering them to keep doing what they're doing, and at the same time, we're pointing the finger at them saying that they're evil. In reality, they're the people who just had such a strong mission, and they fucking carried it out, and for the people I'm talking about, it worked, right? They're an easy enemy because they drive Lamborghinis.
I would say people are evil based on the impact that they have, you know? Like if you can look at the impact that an individual or a company has on the world and you can see if it's a positive or negative one, I would say that's what I would class as evil or not evil. But like we said before, in a democracy and economics, if you're supporting it, or if a company is succeeding, end of the day, you can't really blame them. You know, it gets a bit precarious when they're pushing something that's addictive.
Yeah.
Well, then it's like, well, are these people really waking up every day choosing to support this, or does their body rely on said thing?
Yeah.
Then it's a bit of a complicated conversation. But like say a business like yours, you're providing a product. End of the day, if you keep succeeding and expanding, I think that people have voted per se. Because if more people are supporting you, and it's expanding, it speaks for itself.
Vote with their money, right?
Exactly. And I think that's a beautiful thing that we have with economics. I think it does get a little bit complex here and there, but for the most part, it's beautiful.
The preface that people are evil is the important part, right?
Well, who would you, like, okay, if you, on top of your head, you got to think of an evil person and then separate to that, an evil company. Who is it?
An evil person and an evil company. Through definition, you would say that someone like, you know, particular world leaders that are happy to push red buttons that kill anyone falls into evil. You know what I mean? Like, part of the rule set I live by is I don't fuck my neighbor's wife, I don't kill people, I don't steal things, you know, those 10 rules. That's an evil person. I think an evil business or an evil company, I mean, it's pharmaceuticals. It has to be pharmaceuticals, you know. And I think the example that I was going to make before, my preface of knowing that there are evil people in the world, and that's what I'm sort of excluding them from the point that I was making. Because if I was printing shirts, say I'm 5 years in, and then I got an update from my supplier saying, hey, the inks that you use have got this thing that causes cancer in them, and I continued printing them and serving them, I am evil. Right?
I agree, yeah.
But, caveat, if I get that news and I'm like, it doesn't matter what it costs, just for the sake of my family who do this work, I have to stop this business and do something else, right? It sucks, But that's just that's the cards we've been dealt. Compared to the Sacklers who are like, what's a name we can come up with this drug so it doesn't sound bad for you? And how can we push it onto doctors so that they can be our salesmen? And then once everyone's on it, how can we make it available more readily for people? Oh, in Florida, you can do this thing where it's like you don't even need that's evil because you're actively looking for the thing that diminishes people's livelihood, their lifestyle, and overall their lives. So there you go. All right, there is a distinction between what is capitalist endeavors that are fruitful if you follow them for long enough, and then there's capitalist endeavors that are at the cost of people's lives. One's good and one's evil.
Yeah, I would say most companies at the beginning, you start off trying to be proactive, and then you'll hit swings and roundabouts that kind of force you to be reactive based on the situation. But it's in those moments what you do that matters. At the end of the day, if you follow those guidelines, I think you're always going to be in somewhat room for success. But the more proactive you are, the more success you're probably going to be willingly going towards. Whereas if you're just reactive, like constantly, and you're choosing like to be like evil in your decisions just to make profit, it kind of begs the question, why is a company like that, that's knowingly evil, allowed to continue to exist?
Yeah.
Bit of a bizarre one. Since we're in a democracy and freedom of economics, it's bizarre that we still allow companies like that to almost make like an atrocity on humanity and pay a fine, still come out on top, and then keep going.
There's a threshold, right? Because the sort of soggy part of this reality is that money buys anything. Money buys power, money buys death, money buys forgiveness.
Have you heard this saying, not everything is for sale, but everything can be bought? It's a powerful saying, and it has a lot of weight in this world.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
The more you say it and the more you get it, the more you realize why. I think when they designed currencies, it was probably designed in like a way where you're thinking about all the good. But if you think about how much evil comes along with it, it's a bit of an unfortunate consequence that seems to carry forward, and there's no real way to stop it. It's like as soon as you made currency a thing, it's like you could never have stopped all the bad that came with that.
For sure, but I mean, if I
there's no other better way to do it. Like say right now, I just gave you a week to try and reinvent the system to make something better than what we have. What possibly could you come up with that still allows freedom, democracy, and economics and cash? Cash is important. Like, for example, we couldn't even scratch these without coins.
I have one thing I could use to scratch that.
You got to use coins.
If I had to come up with anything to scratch those scratchies, I'd use my finishing marathon medal that I got. I got a 350 at the Three Waters Marathon. I could use that. You know, that's one solution for currency.
There's that's a flex.
Do you want to hold it?
I want you're scratching those scratches with that.
Do you think you could lift this?
No, 100. I'm not even going to try.
I know you're a big boy, but it's got a bit of weight to it.
I don't even have the right to touch that. I don't think I could even run 5 kilometers right now.
That's all right, buddy. You'll get there one day.
But when you scratch though, just scratching it with that, it's probably going to be a high probability of winning.
The problem is if I scratch it with that, I'll just tear straight through the paper.
Yeah. That's a fair point.
The moment then that was classic.
Yeah. That's why, see, we can't go cashless. You got to keep coins.
Yeah, but all right, two things. First thing is it's not the cash that's a problem, it's a transaction.
Why?
If you didn't have cash and you were just swapping carrots and cucumbers,
yeah,
it would still be someone would have the control of all of the cauliflower and someone would have all the chickens and someone would have and it doesn't matter. Like cash is just the interim exchange unit, right? It's the thing that we all recognize as, and even then we don't all recognize the same thing. Like this, you give this to an American and they're like, fuck, this is only worth something if I go to this other place and swap it for what we use for exchange. You know, you go to Japan with this, same story. You go to Tasmania, it works, you know?
It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's such a crazy concept. And also, like, you know, people say that cash hasn't been real since we got off the gold Or is it the gold?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, countries just have a certain amount of gold in reserve, right?
Yeah.
And then based off the amount of gold that
Gold
you had,
standard.
yeah, you could print X amount of currency based off your gold. And I don't know where they decided to like just scratch that. And
I think they went off the gold standard like somewhere between the 80s and 2000s, I think.
Yeah, I wish I was there for that moment.
But this is the thing, like
Just
they say cash
keep
isn't
printing.
real since we went off the gold standard. Very fucking popular Dwight quote off The Office. The thing is though, like it still fucking works, you know? And like I understand inflation and all that, like I totally get all that. But probably my bigger question to myself that I try to answer throughout my life is like, you know, if there was no, you know, World War II, and if there was no Henry Ford, and if there was no, you know, fill in the people and the events and all the things that crafted the reality that we have right now, if there was none of them, would we still kind of be in the same situation? Like, do you think that we are consequential because of the events and characters that have come before us? Or are we experiencing the human experience that was always going to happen regardless of whoever the name was that was the, you know, protagonist or antagonist of the time that triggered the events that came after?
Well, like the event still happened? Or
Not the events exactly, but something of the style. Like AI was always going to come around this time. We were always going to have weapons that were going to kill each other, whether we had Trump and Hitler or whether we had, you know, the names that never existed because Trump and Hitler existed.
I would say, this might be a weird way of explaining it, I think humanity was always going to progress. But I would say at what rate and how and why are all the things you're talking about that influence that. But as a whole, if you leave humans on the planet for long enough and you have, I guess you say functioning economies, like the way how we trade, kind of all collectively in some way where a partnership, a very complicated partnership where we're all somewhat helping each other out. Like it's quite a delicate situation, as you can see with what's going on in the Gulf states and all over the world. There seems to be conflict. But as a whole, I think humans are always going to keep progressing to where we're currently sitting. I think you could sit there and write this out, kind of like George Orwell did with that book. You know, George Orwell, yeah. I think if you sit there for long enough and you think, okay, where's humanity heading? If you wrote that all down, sure, in 100 years it might change slightly. But you can almost predict where we're going. And I think you could have roughly determined that in the early 2000s. I think before that, maybe go back to like the 1970s before technology really kicked off. I think that was a pivotal point where if I gave you a pen and paper and I said, right, where do you think we're going? That would have been a bit hard to figure out where we're going. Yeah. Because technology has accelerated things so rapidly.
Yeah.
But I think if you changed a couple of events, a couple of people, I don't think overall it would change that much. Like it would definitely affect things because everything has an impact. It's like a ripple effect.
Yeah, butterfly effect.
Yeah, like say 9/11, for example, horrible thing that happened. But that one singular event that happened, it only took 2 planes to go into 2 buildings and a couple other weird things like buildings fell down. But anyway, think about the cascade that it had on humanity.
Yeah.
Like all the little ripples that affected everything.
So I think what my question is, if that didn't happen,
but change this.
With something of the
same nature, take away the planes, some other kind of terrorist attack. Do you think it would have had the same impact? Like, what's your thoughts?
Dude, if you zoom out far enough, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I always picture this, and this helps me in my own life as well. I always picture what's going on as if I'm an alien watching ants on an anthill. You don't really care that there's, that's a male and that's a female, or that's a worker and that's a queen. It's like they all look the same.
I've actually never looked at ants and ever in my life thought which one's
which?
Dude.
Do they have social circles?
That changes everything.
Is that the cool guy? Is that the fucking weirdo? They're all ants, bro. Right?
Dude.
And this is a crazy part. I'll answer one question before I go off on analogies like I do. I think if you go, what's the difference between 2 planes flying into 2 buildings compared to a tank driving through the main street of fucking
New
York, you know, going into Central Park and then exploding, right? What's the difference? Well, 100 years from now, they'll both be considered a terrorist attack that killed X amount of people, right? Let's pretend they killed the same amount of people for the sake of the conversation, right?
Yep.
Whoever was driving the tank was the enemy. It wasn't a particular nation, or it wasn't a particular, color, skin, or it fucking probably doesn't even matter what gender they are, right? Like, for example, all the school shootings, they're all just a weirdo. You know what I mean? They're all just a weirdo who had something going on that mysteriously their house got scrubbed of all fingerprints and guns right after the fact, right?
America's very strange for that.
So weird.
Yep.
What I'm saying is like, obviously, the personal part of this, like, for all the people that are affected by these things, fucking, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be offensive. What I'm trying to say is the human experience in general, if you zoom out far enough, everything doesn't matter. It's like we're part of a reality test. It's like we're inside of a, what do you call it when you're in a thing? Elon Musk says we're in one.
A fishbowl?
No. Simulation. It's like there's infinite simulations happening, and we're just in one where they're like, well, what happens if we put a Hitler in, the this time period? And what happens if we put a fucking TV star in as a president? What happens if we give him four assassination attempts? You know what I mean? It's like, it's all these things, and we're just sort of like seeing how it plays out. It feels like things aren't even like tactically real to a certain extent.
Yeah, 100%.
When you zoom out far enough, they're actually all the same. The only things that are really like actually something are like the feelings that I get when I look in my dog's eyes, and I'm going to guess my daughter's eyes. It's going to be the same, like times a million, right? So when I consider that, it's like, it helps me connect to my life so much more, because I'm like, the things that actually matter are having good friendships. It's having good relationships with my parents and my friends and my neighbors, and the things that I can, appreciate, and of course Larissa, and our whole life.
Your value system.
My value system. And at the same time, it helps me completely disconnect from all these things that are trying to rattle me. Because it's like, if the end of the world's coming, what am I going to do? Stress about it? I get the same outcome. Whether I stress about getting out this urgent order today or I don't, I'll probably still get this urgent order out, right? The difference between the two is cortisol. I'm not interested in it, And so that question that I'm asking, if you take these characters and these events out of our history, does humanity have the same direction? Most probably. And if that's the case, then there's no point worrying about whether Donald Trump's going to push the big red button. It's my job just to be here with my family.
Yeah, 100%. I think humans should constantly be navigating their life where you're realizing that things are probably happening for you. And it does sound spiritual, but I think it's alchemizing whatever's going on in your life for the betterment of your future. The more that you do that, the more that you realize like all these hardship or things that we objectively look at and we find discomfort or tragedy or difficultness or whatever it may be. Say like before that ever happened, and I've had this conversation before where you go, let's sit down and write out all the things that we wish we become. Say one's patience. Well, if you're not a patient person, what do you think you need to become a patient person?
To exercise patience.
Exactly. And you can use the same thing and flow it on to anything you want to become. But I think life is always going to be happening around us. Like Kevin Hart had this famous kind of saying, I'm not going to even butcher it, but it was like the sun is always going to get up, regardless of how you feel, regardless of whether you want to do this or don't want to do this. The sun's getting up. Everyone's moving on. Society's like that as a whole. We've kind of created, in my opinion, this system, and there's so many clogs to it. And once they press the start button on it, I don't think they realize that you can't undo that. Like, it has to keep going. It's like the more solutions we create to make society more functional, you can't just stop it. It's like, let's say everyone's reliant on huge farming and agriculture and ships coming in and providing food and everything, right? Everyone's happy. Society's happy. Do that for a decade, right? You create friends, you've got a kid in school, you hold down a good job, you're paying your mortgage, everything's functioning. All these clogs are now like turning, and then that clog's turning another one and everything. And as a whole, there's so much going on, and you can allow it to impact you, or you can go out in your life and try and just focus on your surroundings, your community. At the end of the day, whether you like it or not, you can't control what happens in your community. You can't control what happens outside your community. You can keep going out and out and out and out. I don't even know why the news even shows us half of the stuff that's going on, because it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you're showing me something that I have no influence on.
Yeah.
And you're trying to sell me like I should care. But even if I care about it, I'm still not even making an impact on it. And then they kind of sell another idea and they go, if you're really unhappy about it, you can go out in the street and jump up and down with a sign.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know if that's really making a positive impact.
Or if you're really unhappy, we got a tablet for that.
Yeah, but say like in your little community, say everyone comes together and they go, you know what? I'm not happy about this. Well, if everyone goes, right, how can we change that? And you all somehow have a little part to play in that. That's how you make change. So unless you're going to go and do that, I don't know why we let everything around us upset us. Because it's totally like we allow that in.
Yeah, but it's not about us opening that door. That's actually a hallway in the human experience, right? So what that is, in a community, the reason why you have gossip is to weed out the bullshit. Like the reason that women...
Wait, what?
The reason you have gossip...
Wait, you reckon gossip weeds out bullshit?
Yeah.
What?
It does, 100%. The reason why, you know, and this is going to sound sexist if you don't agree with me, but get your own fucking podcast. The reason why women gather and gossip among themselves and
allegedly,
talk
yeah,
is so that they can weed out like, oh, do you know such and such is this? And you know, it's a safety mechanism, right? Now, the reason that gossip feels so like sticky and gross and prickly now is because we don't have anything to fucking do, Jesse. We gossip about what people wear. We gossip about who people sleep with, right? The purpose of gossip is it's information exchange about things that could be a threat to us. Now that
or entertaining.
Yeah. Entertaining is probably more so in the modern stage of gossip. But the whole point of that is humans have a natural desire to want to know what's going on around them, especially if it affects them. If it affects their life and their relationships and their friends and their health or whatever it is. Like, oh, the neighbor said, did you know that berry bush over there, did you know that such and such, one of our neighbors from a village over, ate one of those berries and died? And you go, fuck, all right, thank you for telling me. I'm going to tell my neighbor so they know as well. I'm going to tell, my kids, I'm going to tell this. So now we know that berry is very bad for you. And sometimes we make stories about it, and the story is fun to tell, but it's also educational to a certain extent, right? Now, the idea of that is the reason why you go, oh, really? It's like, yeah, and also over that hill, there's saber-toothed tigers, and everyone knows what they do. They chase you and they eat you. They'll eat your child in front of you, look at you in the eye and not give a fuck. So we don't go over that hill. And if we do go over that hill, we take a couple of people with us. Gossip is the through line of the information and getting it to where it needs to go.
I think that's where it started, but where it's now is fucking ridiculous.
That's where it started, right? Now,
it used to be helpful.
What news stations do, what the purpose of it, and don't forget, let's go back to the purpose of a company or business is to increase revenue every year, right? Yeah. Now, the way that news stations make money is the ads in between the news, right? Because news is on free to air typically. Now, why does a news have a flashing thing down the bottom? Why do they have the time there? Why do they have a sponsor in the corner? Why do they have their logo animated and keeps moving? Because they know every single part of that keeps you glued to the TV before we even worry about the content on the TV. The content on the TV, with the classic if it bleeds, it leads, the idea of the content is we're going to give you stuff that's so over the top that you can't not pay attention to it. Because that part of your human mind is worried about the berries that can kill you. And now they're saying, well, you reckon the berries that can kill you is bad? Lebanon got bombed overnight, right?
Yeah, I hate the jumps that they make, yeah.
Dude, Trump flew a B-2 bomber over Iran, dropped bunker busters into the fucking, wow. Do you know Justin Bieber got caught fucking with cocaine? And it just goes from thing to thing to thing to thing. And you're just like, fucking what? And the thing down the bottom says, oh, your mum's fat and blah, and you're whoa, like this is too much. Obviously not your mum's fat. It's something that's, or they have the weather scrolling down the bottom. So it's like they're trying to hit you from so many fucking angles. The thing they're speaking to is the gossip response thing in your mind that goes like, I need all this information to protect my family. But the reality is there is most of the time not one thing on an entire news segment of any given day that actually affects you. They can tell you the fuel prices are up. You knew that when you go to fuel your car up. They can tell you the stock market's down. You probably don't have stocks. And if you do, you knew it before the news told you, right? There is actually fucking nothing on that orchestrated bullshit of two, a man and a woman sitting there prim and proper on a stage that would never fucking exist with their perfect faces going, and now, today on the news, shut the fuck up. This whole thing's a joke.
Yeah, we don't buy it anymore.
No,
I think
our generation laugh at it.
Do you reckon they know that?
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's so weird that they keep trying the same thing. Like, it's like baking a cookie that no one wants, and they're like, what should we do different?
Put raisins in it.
Let's do the same thing again. But
dude, you know what's crazy? I saw an ad the other day for getting a flu shot.
yeah,
So it's someone who's, let's say, in their 60s, and they're playing fucking some sport, I don't know. It's got a racket and a ball, and they're like, it's a 60-year-old playing, and they're all smiling. They go, oh, the best defense is action. Don't forget to get your flu shot. And I'm like, who the fuck does this work for? Dad rocks up to work this morning. He's like, yeah, I got my flu shot yesterday.
Oh, shout out Jake's dad.
Dude, you know what? Fucking get it. Get it. I'm wrong. But you have to understand that, like, we grew up questioning everything, like you and I especially. Like, we are conspiracy theorists to our fucking core, to the point where we don't even listen to conspiracy theories anymore because we know that we can't fucking change anything. 9/11 was an inside job. What can we do? Right?
I want to just clarify here. I think anyone that questions something more than the average person is a benefit to society. Because if you just willy-nilly, turn on the news, and because someone's wearing a suit or because someone's in like a political position, you believe what they said, that's a very dangerous thing.
Yeah.
Because in society, we want truth, and we want, there's a word I'm looking for. Say you like buy something, transparency. You need truth and transparency to have, like, I would say, a functioning, healthy ecosystem to live in. So you can't just go out into the world and someone says, yeah, that's what happened. And then you go, oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, da-da-da.
Got it.
I mean, if they know that that's the trust that we have, well, what makes you think that they're not going to throw in a little lie here and then the whole story is covered up? You need people to constantly, it's not like we're conspiracy theorists. It's like, well, hang on, my intuition's saying something feels a bit off here. Let's investigate this. There's nothing wrong with that. More transparency, more truth's good. Like, you don't want a society where someone says, just don't worry about it. It's like the Epstein files, for example. You don't want to get into it, but like, it's pretty obvious some tragic shit happened. And they're, come on, are we still talking about that?
Yeah.
Or like, should we investigate it? Obviously. But they're like, no, like, don't. Trump's not in it, or this person's not in it. Trust me. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know if I trust you. Can we
trust you? Why?
Can we look into it? They're like, no, we don't need to.
Yeah. Or there's just another thing to worry about that's more important.
Yeah.
What's the only thing that's bigger than the Epstein
UFOs.
Well,
UFOs. Aliens. They're aliens.
Well,
how good is that?
They've come forward and said that we have alien bodies, we have alien crafts.
It's so good.
And everyone's just like, okay. Like news fatigue. Okay.
Dude, we're in that exact state of mind when the news or Trump can say, yeah, we have aliens. We found them. They're a thing. And everyone just like, okay. What? No. Show me. You can't just say that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, make something float.
Bro, this is exactly what I'm saying. Okay, someone just said there's an alien, right? Like, remember when E.T. came out?
Yeah, it's huge.
Huge. Imagine if they just found an alien. They can be like, show me that thing. You can't just say, dude, I can't go to the government. Or, let's say, hypothetically, let's just say I ring into work. I can't come in. Why not? You won't believe me here. An alien crashed in my backyard. I've got to take, like, humanity's not even a thing right now. There's this planet that's from this other universe and it's got way bigger problems. Yeah. Like, I solely need to invest my time into this now. And they said that you need to pay me. Work's going to be like, no.
No, you can't. 8 o'clock is 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, you're in.
Yeah.
But like the news says it and we all just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Carry on. No, not carry on, bro.
Yeah.
You can't just say these things, man.
Are you religious?
I would say I'm not religious, but I love the concept. And I would say that for a lot of religions. I think it's a beautiful thing that you can put into your life and you'd probably get a lot out of it. But I don't think I I pray to one God or one. I don't stick to one religion. I like to pick up, say, 10 books. I read all of them. I'll take what I can from them, but I struggle to just adopt one way of truth or belief because I feel like as a human you should be constantly evolving. But that's just me. Like, if you're Christian or you're Muslim or you follow anything like that, especially if it's like culturally in your family for generations, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with religion. But just for me personally, I don't think I've had a spiritual enough experience to justify believing in like Jesus or God. I believe that person was real. I believe that there's probably an entity out there that we all pray to that somehow influences our current life and our future. Like I was saying before, you pray to become XYZ. Yeah. Somehow along the lines, your life delivers XYZ to become that.
Yeah.
That's like, there's a lot of things like that happen. You go, is that just a natural thing, or is there something bigger here?
Yeah. Well, do you think there's something bigger there?
I don't know. I believe if I can't disprove something, I have to put my hands up and go, I genuinely don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it's very ironic that every religion can be like, yeah, 100%. He's up there. You're like, okay, can I see him? No.
Yeah. I think the Bible, for example, is a book of stories that helps you navigate life. I think there's enough fables in there. Fables? I don't know if fable has a second meaning behind. I think there's enough narratives in there that you can take any part of your life and there's some sort of similar structured scenario in the Bible wherein good helps and the structure of Christianity can be of assistance to you in your life, right? There's that idea. Put that to one side. I also believe that the Bible is mostly metaphorical, right? I believe that things like parting the sea, the burning bush, Sodom and Gomorrah, these they're all early on Old Testament stories, but I believe all of those are strictly metaphorical. I believe that the places they talk about in the Bible exist, but I think a lot of what happened was placeholders for how people interpret themselves and their life, right? I think that people have these crazy situations in their life, like a lot of the stories that I really like are quite, they're like Genesis through Exodus in the first, in the Old Testament, which are just all the basic stories that everyone knows, Cain and Abel, Adam and Eve, these types of things. And it's like for example, Cain and Abel, Cain kills Abel, right? Out of jealousy. That is something that you go through as a young man. There are times when you literally have to get right up to the line and then throw yourself a kilometer past it to learn some tragic lesson that makes you feel fucking horrible, that lets you know that the line is not to be fucked with. And you can dance on the line. You can get to the line, but never cross the line, right? And that, as a metaphor, is a teaching of the Bible that you go, I can't imagine killing my brother, but I can imagine doing something so horrible that I would never forgive myself for it. Like for me, it was selling a stamp album, right? And I know it sounds ridiculous, but my mum and I would get 1 or 2 stamps every weekend. We go to the post office. This is during the 2000 Olympics. We get a different Australian athlete as a stamp. We go home, we put it in the stamp album. We'd buy it, we'd collect and find all these different stamps. These things got posted to us, it's 100 years ago, so you got heaps of stuff posted to you. Everything had a stamp. You get it out, you put it in water, it separates from the paper, you'd put it in the little folder. And one day, me being the young entrepreneur that I am, I sold it for $25 to one of the girls in my class.
You regret that?
I didn't regret it until I told mum about it, and she didn't even get angry at me. She's like, oh, Jake. And they didn't talk to me ever again about it. It broke my heart. And it made me, I know it's not as crazy as killing your brother, right? But I was so disappointed in myself that I didn't understand the value of what that was outside of a stamp album with stamps in it, that I treated everything differently moving forward.
You see, you had a tragedy.
Had a tragedy.
And it teaches you a valuable lesson.
Right.
Yeah.
So to zoom out of what I'm saying here, I think the Bible is really it's really helpful if you see it as this idea of what the human life can be, right? And to be able to understand what the ultimate, if you were going to write a story about the ultimate sacrifice for a greater good, there is nothing more ultimate than letting yourself be killed by the opposition when you know you're right and you're so right that you let them kill you to prove a lesson. right? And even through your own death, you can still be reborn. And through that rebirth, you can not only start fresh yourself, but you can demonstrate to others what's possible in the experience of a human life.
Yeah, I'd say he was the definition of a perfect human, for sure. But let's backtrack a little bit here. Before any Bible existed, there would have been a bunch of humans out there. And I would say there would have been possibly, how would I put this? If you've got humans out there that haven't picked up a book in order to help them or influence their life to make good decisions, if they make good decisions based off their own intuition, they sit with themselves in a situation and go, well, that feels bad, or that feels good. I'd rather know that person. Because for me, there's a lot of dangers in picking up books and getting lessons from them, just because if you take away all the books and you go through life and you learn all these lessons yourself, I think you're more in tune with what's right and what's wrong. Like if you only know what's right and what's wrong because society, set out all these rules and consequences, or you picked up a book and you got that same thing from that, well, how intuitive are you from right and wrong? If you didn't believe in heaven and hell, or someone didn't believe in heaven and hell, and you just let them out in life, the decisions that they make, that's authentic to them, So for me, I don't think religion's bad, but I think people really need to get a grasp from birth and go, you each have an opportunity to learn right from wrong. And if you can't grasp that, well, maybe you do need the book. But I think we need to have a period in a development stage of a human where they don't pick up a book, because I think there's so many people out there that are just genuinely good people based on choices that they intuitively make. And if you just give a child a book from the get-go, you're influencing them in a way that's not necessarily fair, because you've stopped them from learning these lessons themselves. If an author is always going to be the most intelligent one out of a room, if everyone's just reading. If there's an author and then everyone else is reading what the author wrote, who's the most influential person? The author.
All right. So many holes in that idea.
You reckon?
Yeah. Fully. But no, I understand where you're at. Because I have challenged in that direction before. And then again, like you and I are both fairly good at critically thinking our own ideas and then figuring out and also open to other people's critical thinking, which then you go, okay, cool, yeah, no, I see what the point is there.
Oh, for sure. I'm open to being wrong.
So
every day of the week.
Let me explain to you in detail why you're wrong. I just want to make sure that I get the basic idea of why. So the concept here is that the Bible itself has got multiple authors, right? Like even in the Old Testament, you got Matthew, Mark, Luke, John.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure most of those books as well repeat the same story just from different perspectives. The Old Testament is written by multiple authors as well. And within that, the Bible has been translated multiple times through different languages and has survived, thousands of years, right?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this is just the example of the book in one sect of religion, Christianity. The Bible reflects Christianity, right? So the idea that this one book has all these stories that in general help life, right? So you go, all right, if we get a child and we don't give them a book and we just let them experience life, that child will experience the path that they are on, right? So for me, I lived in a caravan for a couple of years, traveled around. My parents managed transport yards. My dad was a truck driver. We moved over here. I didn't experience anything in another country. I didn't experience anything with a different culture. I didn't experience anything outside of that group of people. Like I grew up around blue collar, fucking middle-aged workers. That's what I grew up around. So my whole idea of what life was outside of religion, outside of right and wrong was that, right? Now, let's replace that same life with this book and being taught this book, right? Which has been written by multiple people, gone through all these tests of time, has lasted the test of time. Don't forget that. This has been questioned over and over and over and over and still comes out on top, right? So it's been tested by people like you. That's the point. Now, this book gives you multiple perspectives because there's stories in here where you can go, oh, wait, am I one of the sinners from Sodom and Gomorrah? Am I one of the people who died when God destroyed those cities because they were of sin? Am I Lot's wife because I turned around and went against what God said, so he turned me to a pillar of salt? Am I Adam or am I Eve? Am I Cain or am I Abel? Am I Jesus? Am I Judas? Right? The Bible gives you a set of stories with so many characters, with so many different intentions, that it not only allows you to see what the good path is, what the righteous path is, but what the wrong path is. And it explains in detail the intentions and the influences of both. Right? So what it does is it gives you so many, and that's what I'm saying, like you can go through any part of your life and find something in the Bible that sort of reflects it and helps you out of it in one way or another. Now, what this does, this book, what it does is it's a summary of what can happen to you, and it teaches you over and over and over the good prevails. That if you have faith, and if you're pointed in the direction of faith, and you're pointed in the direction of good, you and whoever you want to take with you can find salvation at the end of it, whether that's at the end of a project, at the end of a season, at the end of a year, at the end of life. There is something at the other end as long as you're pointed in that direction. The idea of this book is to give you that structure. And the reason why you read it over and over and over and you go and practice it with people in your community is so that you can get more and more perspective about what life is all about. The Bible's got less to do with Jesus and more to do with you, right? The idea is, I mean, ideally, my perspective, don't forget, like, I'm not like a practicing Christian. I'm someone who mirrors a lot of things that are in the Bible and found that they're really beneficial for me, selfishly, egotistically, right? I think what this book does is it gives you a path. It helps you feel a little bit more human in the human experience. It gives you purpose. It gives you a reason to be good. And so far, like one of the big things that this teaches that even you've said is prayer. If you wake up every day and say, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm rich, I'm abundant, everything's coming to me, my life is easy, it's seamless, I move through this life like it's given to me as a gift, I appreciate it, I'm grateful, I have great friends, I have great relationships, and you just repeat that over and over and over. Right before you go to sleep, you do it over and over and over. In time, that's what your life becomes. Because you're asking for it. You're telling the universe that's what this is, right? And people often refer to prayer at their lowest point. My grandma's dying. God, please let my grandma live another day. Please let my grandma live another day. It's like, so at your most needing hour, you come to the Creator? Brother, how about when everything's going well? How about some gratitude? Or how about when everything's just average and you're like, I wouldn't mind it a little bit better? The Creator responds the same way.
See, I can't shoot anything you're saying right now, but I believe you can have all those without picking up that book. That's what I'm saying.
Brother, you only have those ideals because the book exists in your periphery. It only exists because people like me have told you in parts of your life about these things. Like, you don't understand all those things acclimated over time are this book.
You don't believe that before that book was created, there were people out there that did
Yeah,
things
and they
like
figured
that?
it out and wrote it down. The whole point of life, the whole point of us humans is to learn and then teach. And this is this is lessons summarized, put into narratives, linked together, put into a book as a gift from all the humans before you that lived that agreed that covers most of the bases.
Yep.
Right? And if you read a Bible with that in mind, rather than like, fuck, what's this book that talks about holy art thou, or using these words I've never heard before, read it like this shit is a fucking how-to, it turns into something else.
All right, question time then. What about all the other religions out there?
Fuck them.
Why?
Nah. Dude, I believe that every religion has a place. I think where religions don't have a place is where same thing as the companies, when it talks about doing things to other humans that you would never have happen to you or the people that you love. Like, you might go, yeah, kill all the other religions, rah, rah, rah. Well, what happens when you're the other religion and it means killing you?
Exactly.
Right? That's when I go like, you know what? I don't believe, do you know how Christianity works with all the different arms?
Sectors.
Yeah. So, like,
how there's like Anglican and this and that.
Right.
No, dude, that still to this day blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, surely you all just come together and you agree on like why there's so many divisions in one
All I know is the Catholic Church looks at me different from the other church that I go to, bloody Dream Builders. They're like, you got tattoos? Cool. You got any other tattooed friends? Bring them in. I could walk in the Catholic Church. I'm like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Don't give him the collection plate. He's going to steal the money. You know, like and I'm not knocking Catholics or anything, but when it comes to like, the point I'm making is the umbrella of Christianity, I like the majority of it. So I am a Christian. Or I practice Christian values. I don't even want to call myself a Christian because it's like, for me, it's not about that. And if I'm practicing the Christian values and for the sake of what God or the Creator asks of us, then I'm fitting the bill. But when it comes to religions, I have done a little bit of research earlier in my life about, you know, what's the go over here, what's the go over there. It's like the values there don't really align with how I perceive life. So it's like, this is the most obvious one to continue going down that path.
You know, I have to say there is something very interesting about their predictions because it's very accurate to the way society is playing out currently.
Yeah.
And I find that in itself is something that you can't shoot down because it's like, how did one person or a group of individuals have the capacity to know where humanity was going and write it down in a way that you could 100% compare and be like, okay, they're pretty on point with what's currently going on. Whether or not you believe the stories that they tell, there was the group of people that wrote those stories down and put it into the Bible had a very high intellectual capacity. But whether or not that came from, you know, God or Jesus is a question that I just can't say yes or no to because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But regardless of the fact, I was more trying to say, I think you could go out into the world and find the most pure people in each factor and country, religion. I don't think you have to be practicing one sector of a religion to be a good person.
No, not at all.
And that for me is kind of where I draw the line and go, if I paid you for the rest of your life an agreed value of money that you were happy to earn per year to support all the things that you wanted to do in your family, and I said, I just want you to go out into the world and learn as much as you can from each culture, each religion, and come back to me in 20 years. Would you be a better person would your capacity to be a better person be greater than if you just stayed here in Australia, in this community, and just practiced Christianity? That's my question to humanity is, if your religion's so good, why is there so much division still? Why are your leaders?
The division doesn't come from religion. It comes from...
I think it does come from religion
it comes from
in a sense.
the fucking news, dude. It comes from the they. It comes from them. Dude, the reason why people can't protest and do anything about it is because everyone's protesting something different.
Or we're led to believe that processing makes changes when it doesn't. So,
dude, I think don't forget protesting has more of a definition than standing in the street with a sign. If you protest with money, people pay attention, right?
What's an example of protesting with money?
All right, boycotting a company, like say Cadbury, we find out Cadbury uses bloody animal blood in their chocolate and everyone's like, I'm never buying Cadbury again. And all of a sudden Cadbury's like, why have we got a 73% drop in sales in Australia?
Yep.
That is a protesting with money, right? Protesting in the street is fucking pointless, right?
What about changing your profile picture to a flag?
Fucking pointless.
Whoa.
Anyway.
Whoa.
I know, crazy, right?
Dude.
How about this though? Do you want to protest? There are 100,000 people that live in the Greater Bunbury region.
Yeah.
I have 1,000 listeners on average on every podcast. Now, those 1,000 listeners, most of them are from this area because I really only talk to people from this area.
All right, what are we protesting?
Let's just say 750 of those weekly listeners are from Bunbury. So that means that I have a 0.75% voice to those people. Mm-hmm. If I could get those 0.75 of the, and also that percentage goes up if you talk about just Bunbury, which is 40,000 people. All of a sudden 750 and 40,000 is a lot higher percentage, right? So it's like 1.5, right? Oh, well, the other way, 1.4 say. 1.4% of the people, if I can get them to all think the same way I do and say, hey, everyone, don't go to this business anymore because they fucked me over on this deal.
Yep.
Right? And let's just say that's a business that people do frequent. And 6 months from now, that business is sitting back going like, we had a fucking 3% drop over the past thing in this particular branch and with this particular product. That's a protest.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I'm no one. 750 people is nothing. This podcast is literally a drop in the fucking ocean, right? Let's say you're Joe Rogan.
Ooh.
Let's say you don't even tell people what to do. Let's just say you have an opinion about a topic, and then that topic wavers the way people vote with their money. Maybe they don't go to this particular thing anymore. Maybe they buy this instead of that. There's a real protest, right? And also, you want to talk about protest? Brother, make a Facebook campaign and blow it up to everyone in a particular city that you want to see. That's a real protest.
What was that one in 2012? Dude, that was wild.
That was all
Coney 2012.
organic protest.
Yeah, man.
That's nuts. No one even put money behind it. That was just people wanting to stand up for something.
Such a good story.
That speaks to the internal gossip thing.
Yep.
You want to be connected to, what's this Coney thing?
That's interesting because there's probably so many other things out there that could warrant the same protest or support, and it just doesn't. And then for some bizarre reason, that just like got traction.
Brother.
So interesting.
Do you know about the artificial reef in Bunbury?
I know a little bit about it for sure.
That's one of those things that if everybody actually knew all of the information points, everybody would be for it.
Yeah.
Everybody would be for it.
So why is that not going ahead? Do you know?
Fucking tell me. I don't know.
So what's the go? They need to get money from the government to do it.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's more approval. I think it's literally just like getting past all the bureaucracy to make it happen. But it's like it literally is good for surfing, good for fishing, good for diving.
Yeah.
It's good for tourism. It promotes stuff to start happening along Ocean Drive. They want to put multiple of them in. They've proven the technology. They've done all the lab research. Like it's one of those things where literally it's just telling people. It's just getting people on side. But the problem is, why you've got Epstein files, wars, aliens, transgenders, fucking school shootings, this and that, all stuff that's not even happening in our country. It's really hard for something like an artificial reef
to get traction,
to have any traction, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, even at the moment, like, you know about the fishing laws that have...
Yep.
Right? There are, dude, at the micro end of the scale, there are families that now have their pastime, their weekends, their traditions that have been uprooted, right through to families that have run businesses for decades that are now just like, we just renewed our fishing license worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. We have these boats that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that our livelihood has just been immediately taken away from us. And the government is doing absolutely fucking nothing about it. Oh no, they're giving us they're not. They're not doing anything about it. And they didn't warn them. They didn't give any real reasoning or the scientific data that they got where they took scientists out and the fishermen were like, why are you measuring here? We don't fish here. There's not going to be any fish here. They're like, no, we've got everything we need. Go back to shore. And then they use that data to push through this thing that they did in 3 days instead of 3 months. And it's like, all right, talk about the reef, you know? Hey, how much is your power bill this quarter? Oh, that went up. The rates went up. Can't buy a house. Can't build a house. Can't afford the fucking deposit on a house. I guess I'm going to be part-time forever. They're telling me I should quit vaping. You know, like, dude, I'm fucking, you know, you can, the problems that are on the minor scale add up to be things that are on the major scale. So by the time something as obviously good for the community as putting an artificial reef in down the street so we can all enjoy it, whether it's watching people surfing, whatever it is, it doesn't even make it to the fucking where it needs to be, you know?
See, we just need the 750 people that are listening to this. If we chain ourselves to 750 separate streets in Bunbury and just stop Bunbury, that's it. You're chained to the driveway. There's nothing. You're not going anywhere. Yeah. You've like poured concrete on your. We're in. We just hold a sign saying, unless that artificial reef goes in tomorrow,
I will die at this post.
I'm not moving.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do, man.
Yeah,
that's how we make change.
Yeah, concrete and signs, and changing our profile.
I would like to say, I've always wanted to ask you this question here.
8 inches and thick.
I already know that. Anyway, in a real world democracy, do you think that it's possible we could do better than what we're currently doing in the voting system, where they say, right, we've got, say, 10 people. These people are all in political positions. We've somehow allowed these 10 people to run for X, Y, Z position. Okay, what if you scratch that and we do a voting system like this? If you hold residency, or say you rent or you own a house in this postcode, say in the city or the Shire, let's say all the things that are going to get pushed to possibly happen get put forth to everyone in that postcode or everyone in that shire. And it's a voting system. You know, you get a choice of 3 things that the council's going to spend their money on.
Yeah.
And it's for everyone to decide, oh, I think that's a good idea. And whatever gets the majority vote gets done. Why are we not moving in that direction for a democracy where we all actually vote towards what we want? Because at the minute, it seems like this weird democracy / dictatorship where you get to vote in potentially out of 10 people, you can pick one.
Yeah.
But like the decisions they make, you don't really get a choice on. Like for example, and the reason I said that is like the fishing ban.
Yeah.
Do you think that we should have people in power that are able to make decisions that affect, you know, hundreds of thousands of people? But out of those 100,000 people it affects, no one's happy. Everyone's like up in arms.
Yeah.
Or do you think that there's, with the information they have, someone's going to be the bad person in the public view and make decisions that aren't necessarily going to make people happy? And that's how they maintain their ability to just hold these positions of power, because they go, look, if we let it to a vote, people aren't going to make the right vote for, you know, the future, because you just don't have the education or the know about the certain topic. Or do you think that that's all bullshit and we're somehow still in this weird like way of thinking where it's like old fashioned. We still just vote for this one person and then we just go, I just trust what they say for 4 years and what decisions they make. And why are we doing that? Like, wouldn't you think it's better to educate everyone on a certain topic and then go, what do you think? I mean, you're a community you live in this community, you work in this community, you spend money in this community, you do all the things to make this community the community.
Yeah.
You pay tax. Okay, why are we not making decisions for our community? Like what, you vote in one person and then they make the call.
Yeah.
Like why? Why are we still doing that?
So part of the answer is because you can get hardcore pornography for free at a moment's notice. That's part of the answer.
I don't know how we're
I speak in riddles. I'm gonna bring it back to that point.
Hashtag
okay?
ExpressVPN.
So the reason is because, have you been to a council meeting before?
No.
Right, that's part of the reason. So basically what happens is you're saying that you've got a group of people, and rather than having elected members that represent those people, and in a council setting you might have 6 to 12 of those.
I say you still have them. They're the ones that come up with ideas.
Yeah,
but they're still there.
Let me follow through this, right? So you've got your council members. You always have to have someone at the head of the table. So that's like a president or a mayor, something along those lines.
Yeah.
And then you need that to align with the business that is the city, right? The people who actually take action. They empty the bins, they do the roads, they fix the lights, they keep things clean, right? So that's the business over here. But as far as the decisions, right? So what are we doing? How much are we spending? What takes priority? What order are we doing it in? That sort of thing. That goes to these people. Now, what you're saying is, how come those people that come up with the questions, why aren't they reflecting those questions onto the community to answer or to decide? Correct? So the answer is, the community is exactly what we're talking about. They're bombarded with news on Instagram, Facebook, every medium outlet that you can imagine is bombarding them with stuff that keeps them occupied so that they can be sold advertisements in between those things.
Yeah, but that doesn't really matter.
What do you mean?
Like those things don't influence the community.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
But the problem is we live in a democratic capitalist society where that advertisement is all that fucking matters. That's all that matters, right? The purpose of this podcast is to have conversations with people for me, but it's so I can sell the time to advertisers and monetize this shit, because I would love to have these conversations for free and private, but it doesn't do anything for my bottom dollar, right? And I love having these conversations. It's one of the rare times that I get to actually connect with someone. It's a byproduct of what's actually going on here, which is trying to make money, Jesse. And that's what everyone's trying to do. And if you're not doing that, it's your fault, right? That's another story. So in an ideal world, right, there's only 10 issues. One of them's the artificial reef. The other one's what weekday do we empty the bins on? The other one's that road's broken. Should we use this company or that company? Over here, we have a bit of a domestic issue because we've got a commercial building next to a residential building. We need to know which one should move. And there's a few, and also like, there's an empty block over here. We don't know if we should keep it as a block with trees or if we should build on it. There's 6 questions, right? And at the end of the week, we're going to send out the pieces of paper, or it's going to go to an app, and then you're going to choose what you want on the app.
Yeah, so far it sounds great.
So far it's great, right?
Yeah.
But what about the people who don't answer? What about the people who don't answer and they had a conflicting idea and then it goes away, they didn't want it to happen? Or what happens when the person can answer 3 of the questions but not the other 3, and now they've got to go to this other thing to learn about that, and halfway through they get a message from mum saying she needs, now I couldn't do it, and all of a sudden there's all these problems that arise where it's like, hey, in a perfect world, everyone would just answer the questions at the same time on Friday. But Beck's got to take the girls to netball on Friday. Jesse's catching up with his friend on Friday because they've had a big week and they want to drink piss. Nana's sitting at home. She can't remember a PIN code to get into the thing, right? In an ideal world, the concept is great. The reality is it doesn't work.
But we haven't tried it.
We have tried it.
When?
What we have right now is the result of trying everything that we've tried that's refined to a point right now. What we have right now, this is how it works, because the reason I ask you whether you've been to a council meeting is because they address about 45 of those problems every second Tuesday in Bunbury, right? And they just try and rip through them because guess what's happening a fortnight from them? There's another set of problems.
So let me get this straight. In the council meeting, they're addressing 45 problems. And in that meeting, are you saying that people try and find solutions for those problems and they're employed by the government?
Ish.
Or they're just addressing problems and they're just spitting it out like a rat?
No, so basically what they're doing is the problems are presented to council.
Yeah.
Council then votes on it. The idea of what's happening there is those council members are elected every 2 years for a term of 4 years. And the concept behind that is they have a civic duty to make the best decision based off the reflection of what the constituents, you and I, want. So we vote in the people who will reflect the decisions that we want to have happen. And this is why when election time comes up, you get people saying like, I stand for the lowering of rates and making sure that the homelessness situation is fixed and this and that, because that's things that you take really important. So when those things come up in council, they're going to vote to defend the things that you want to have happen.
Yeah, but there's nothing holding them to do that, which is also a problem.
Yeah, it's hilarious, right? So what we're seeing now is, because there are so many problems, like the city of Bunbury is trying to solve the problems of 40,000 people, which this might come as a surprise to you. They are constantly bombarded with different problems. And at the same time, they're trying to make decisions for the future. We're going to build this hotel over here. We're going to put more parking over there. We're going to upgrade the Southwest Sports Centre. We're going to give this person a grant. We're going to make sure this business stays afloat even though they're struggling. We're going to get rid of that. We've got this problem over here. We need to move the homeless people around. We need more security, right? So they're dealing with not just the problems of now, but the problems that haven't been solved from 10 years ago. We're also trying to build the artificial reef. We're also trying to push through this thing. We've also got someone trying to hold an international event, which is going to shut down the main street for 3 days. They have so many things happening all the time that if we funneled all of those things into an app that people voted on, you couldn't educate people at the rate that they need to be educated to make an informed decision. You also couldn't rely on people actually fucking voting. You also couldn't rely on people not clapping back if they forgot to vote and they deserve the right and all these things. What we have now is not a great system, but is a good enough system that it gives you the society that you have right now. And if you feel passionately enough to make it better, then you should be a part of it. That is your civic duty. It's a responsibility that comes from your soul wanting to be a greater part of your community, right? Now, what we have is not great, but it is what we've got right now. And the reason that it exists is because it has rendered the results that have got us here so far. And we've come from a lot of, not disappointments, but we've come from a lot of failures that has led us to the successes that we do have. Like, don't forget, we have a multi-million, potentially multi-billion-dollar economy in Bunbury because of transport, because of mining, because of the place that we are geographically in the world, right? Now, the real question that we have here is why the fuck are those councillors not paid triple the amount? Why is this considered a 30-hour-a-week job when they have to, because this is the thing, by the time they get to a council meeting, they've done 20 hours of reading. They've talked to all the people in the community that want to talk to them. They're surfacing all the problems that people are coming to them with. And the reason that you have a council meeting every second Tuesday is so that people from the city where they pay rates, where they do have a say, can go and voice their opinion about matters that are important to them. That's the whole fucking point. So you're saying, how come there isn't all this information available for people to have a vote and all the rest? Dude, There is. The city gives so much fucking information about every single problem, every single issue for people to read and research and then go and have a say about. And also, if you're passionate enough, every 2 years, put your name in the fucking hat. Be one of the people who makes the decisions. But the reality is, most people are sitting back, jerking off, living their life, trying to survive, trying to fucking quit vaping. You know what I mean? Like, that's what life is, Jesse. I wish shit was different as well. But the problem is, we have porn at a moment's notice. So why the fuck would we learn about this corner block that they don't want to chop the trees down? They don't want houses to be built in there, but we have to because we have a fucking housing crisis. That's just one problem. You know? Like, I've got time to research this shit. I can't keep up. So you're asking an average person who's struggling with the cost of living? Bro.
I see what you're saying. It's the time, probably the first person that's been able to not challenge me, but come back with something to justify the current situation and system we do have.
And the truth is, like, on top of that, over the past 100 years, you're like, how have we got this fucking idiot as a prime minister? How have we got people that are so obviously not reflecting the needs of Australians, right? The first thing is, there's a lot of people who think he's doing a good job. There's a lot of people, and there's a lot of people in this country. There's a lot of people that you'll never meet, that you'll never experience, that you don't understand what their day-to-day looks like and share the same land that you call home. That's thing number one. Thing number two is this system of voting people in, and because what I've shown you here, where you've got the population of Bunbury, you've got the 6 people that sit as councillors, you've got the 1 mayor over here. Don't forget that fits into a bigger picture where the Shire next to us has that same thing again. And then in WA, we've got the equivalent of the councillors who sit there and make decisions for WA, and then there's one head of WA, and then you've got states alongside us that replicate all of this. And then at the top of all that, you've got people who sit and represent these same 6 seats, there's more of them, but for all of Australia. And then you've got one at the top of that, that's our PM, right? So this system is built to replicate in every tier of the population. And the idea is that if a problem is severe enough,
that probably would get paid via tax. But I'm talking about like things that affect the ongoing future of the citizens that live in that area, like the artificial reef, like a park, like those types of things I think should be put out and voted on by the community. Sure, all those like little minor problems, I'm sure there's heaps of little things that come up, but that's a scapegoat to me because you can just subcontract those out. Like an AI module, you could input all those 45 problems and then you could have subcontractors and vendors that will, you know, put out a tender and go, oh, I can do that for this money. And you can find one that would do it for the cheapest rate. So done. But I'm talking about the actual things where it costs like $1 million or a certain amount of money and you're going to put this thing here and that thing there is going to be there for the next 100 years. Like that, those things should be decisions that the community makes, not three people. So that's just in my opinion.
I understand. To give you the honest breakdown of what this is, you simply don't know enough about the system to understand why these solutions, because they are solutions, but they just don't, like if it was that simple, it would be that simple. So if 1,000 people, imagine 1,000 people in your mind.
Yep.
Every fortnight, rock up to the city chambers and stand there with shirts on that say, we want the artificial reef. It takes about 6 times of that happening. 1,000 people rocking up every fortnight. We want this, we want this, we want this, we want this. That is the city voting for what they want. But that's not important enough for 1,000 people to do that.
Of course.
Right? If it was, and it can be important enough, if you had 1,000 surfers that could get their shit together on a Tuesday night, once a fortnight and get down there, you would have an artificial reef, right? That's how you vote. That is the system that you're asking for. The system already exists. The reason why those 6 councillors don't take that shit as seriously as it should be taken is because according to them, it's not that important because they don't have 1,000 people calling them every day. They don't have 1,000 people showing up. You might have 6 people show up one week. You might have 24 show up the next week. You might have 50 show up the week after, and then it's back down to 6. And they go, okay, we got to focus on the hotel being built next to the Breck because that is going to bring 400 jobs. That's going to bring tourism to us. That means that we can, I mean, you know, that hotel, if that does get built next to the Breck, which it will, that connects to the Breck, which means you can have international acts because they actually have a method of being able to stay somewhere, be not fucked with by the community, and can perform all without having to leave a building. So that alone means that you're not going to have a Justin Bieber, but you might have, you know, fill in the blank. In time, you might have Justin Bieber. I mean, we've now got the second or third AFL game being played in Bunbury. Well, that's because they focus on building a resource that people can use, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's quite simple to see what they want to spend their money on. It's like generating more money with money, you know? It's not. So I can understand how an artificial reef isn't necessarily going to provide, like, that makes sense to me for sure. But, like, let's say, what do you reckon per year the city of Bunbury gets from the government to spend? And let's say it's 100 mil. Let's just throw that number out there. Well, who gets to decide what they're going to build and what they're going to do? And how do they even determine that? Like, you're saying those people on the council are determining it based on their own idea of what Bunbury wants, or are they actually taking in consideration of what the community does want? And if so, how are they gathering that information? How do they know what the majority of Bunbury wants? Like you said, majority of people are busy. Like, they've got kids, they're quitting vape, they're working. They've got all these other problems that they're focusing on. So they're all focused on their own inner domain of life. And now you've got a bunch of people on the council that are paid, which is quite lucky, to focus on problems that aren't their own for 8 hours of the day. Of course they're going to be able to make a more educated decision on something. They're paid to do it. Like, it's not rocket science that they're able to be more informed than the general person. Like, if I paid 100 people that weren't informed about something to be informed about something and make a decision, probably say they'd make a pretty good decision in comparison to before.
Depends on who you're paying.
So those council members right now, 100 mil comes in.
Yep. Okay.
How do they generate, like, how does this work? Like, how do they even come up with an idea? Who comes up with the idea?
Okay, so the 100 million doesn't come, right? So the state government doesn't give $100 million to Bunbury and say, here, spend on whatever you want. What happens is the council agrees on a project based off data, scientific research, what the community wants, which also happens through community polls as well. Like, there's constantly...
So there is somewhat of
there's
that.
community
community poll is kind of what I'm saying.
If you go down to the markets, I'm pretty sure the city of Bunbury has a store that a thing there where you can go in and find out about what's going on. And usually when you go there and you have a chat with the friendly staff that are there, they'll ask you like, oh, you know, what do you think what's been going on? And they'll actually write stuff down and take it to council, because a lot of people like yourself don't know what the city council meetings are for. You know, like 100 years ago, everyone knew what a city council meeting was for and everybody would go to it.
Wild.
But it's a thing that exists now because we're so bombarded with social media and stuff and sports and kids and this and that and fucking drugs and whatever, that it's sort of gone by the wayside, and you only find out about it when things that really affect you happen, and you're like, where can I have a say about this? It's like, well, go to your council meeting and talk to the councillors and have something done about it. But to answer your $100 million question, the $100 million comes because there's a 5-year project where they've done all the research, they've got the community backing, they've got some grant from the state government. It's going to be matched dollar for dollar with the Bunbury community as well, so taxpayers are also paying for it, and they go, right, we want to do this project. It's going to cost us $100 million, or it's going to cost us $200 million. State government goes, we'll match you dollar for dollar. And they go, sweet, we've got this private business who's going to put in $30 million. We've got $50 million sitting in our bank account we're going to put towards it. We've got the other from community outreach, whatever. And then the government gives you the money. You don't just get $100 million and they go fucking figure it out. Right?
Oh, so they don't just have like a budget they get given each year?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Typically that budget is spoken for already because it's paying for things that are being paid for that are part of growth and maintenance of...
Like shires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that happens because there's like a purpose or a place for that money to go. The situations where like, you tend to find the situations where there's just money up for grabs doesn't happen very often, but it tends to happen in things like grants. The reason, and dude, I know I'm a business who's gone for a grant before. You need to show them the color of your asshole to prove why you should get that grant.
That's why you didn't get it.
So. You can't just go, oh, I've got this great idea. Trust me. Give me 50 grand and I'll do it. They're like, no, you can't. We need to know we're going to also, if it's a good idea, if everything on paper looks good, we trust you, we've done all the due diligence into your business to show that you're not 10 minutes old and you've got no experience, we're going to give you the money and then we're going to monitor you. And then we're going to make sure the money gets spent because it's taxpayer money. This money they don't just print it. They get it from somewhere.
The government's effectively like a venture capitalist.
Right.
They're looking at something objectively and going, right, should I put money into this? Is it going to generate?
They want to make sure they're investing in themselves.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Right. So to go back to something else you said, my biggest thing, my biggest problem with the system that we're talking about that I'm not defending. I don't want to say I'm defending it. I'm trying to be as transparent about how I understand it so that you can have a deeper understanding.
I think you're very freely justifying it, but not in an opinionated way. You're just stating facts that I didn't know to back up why it's there.
The only reason that I know about it is because I was going to try and be a council person and I realized exactly what the system was. I understood what it was. Most people have no fucking idea how decisions get made.
Hashtag me.
Right? And the way I remember when I first realized all this, I was explaining to a peer of mine. He's like 2 years younger than me. I've been around him for probably 15, 20 years. 15, 16, 17 years. And I was telling him like, oh, I'm going to be a counsellor. And he's like, man, you can't just be a counsellor. Like, oh, you know, what are you going to do? What are you going to vote for? Like, what are you going to, so what do you think you can do? Like, you can't make any change. And every time I tried to explain something to him, he'd cut me off and say something else. I'm like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I barely know the answers, and I didn't at the time, but you don't know what you're talking about. You think that I think that I'm going to go in there and make any change? You think that this system is something that can be affected by one 20-something-year-old? You think that things are going to happen in a year? Like, oh, you have no idea how the world works, sweetie. Don't think that you're going to tell me anything. I barely know anything, right? Mm-hmm. And then I looked at, like, I zoomed out of what's going on. I'm like, oh, I'm trying to be a part of something that doesn't need me, right? And if it does need me, how effective can I be? I know that's a bit of a sideball for everything that I've said, but let me explain something. The people who get voted in, there's 6 seats, I think, right? I think it's 6 at the moment. It used to be a lot more. If it's not 6, it's like 10, and they're getting rid of some of them, right? These people have no prerequisite other than they have to live in the shire that they're going to represent. So if you want to sit on the city of Bunbury, if you want to be a council for the city of Bunbury, you have to live in the city of Bunbury.
By purchase or rent?
Either. Okay. Your residing address has to be in the city of Bunbury.
That's pretty fair.
Checks out, right?
Makes sense.
If you want to make decisions for the place, you got to live there. Now, one of the other things, you have to be over a certain age. I think you're not allowed to have a criminal record. Even that might be. I'm not sure. But that's all it takes. After that, it's a popularity vote. After that, it just depends on what circles you're in. Depends on what church you go to. Depends on how many people you can influence. Depends how many people will pay attention when you put your hand up and say, I'm going to run for council, right? Mm. That's all it depends on, because it's a democratic voting system, which means all you need is more votes than the other people and you'll get the job. Same as going for the mayor. If you want to be the CEO of Bunbury, you have to be chosen. You have to be employed for that position, right? But if you want to be the mayor, you got to be the most popular, right? Mm-hmm. That's how that works.
Very interesting.
Now, that position, I might be wrong here, but that's worth $35,000 a year, right? Now, you can have that position with a full-time job. You can have that position and be independently wealthy and do nothing with your time. There is no, I mean, they say there's oversight, like making sure that you're doing your job. Yeah. I know of council members that have like a 30% attendance rate. I know of council members that fall asleep at council meetings. I know of council members that vote on things purely based off the people that they hang out with, right? There's really nothing that says that you have to do the right thing. Mm. All it says is that you should be there. Like, they meet every Tuesday, but only every second Tuesday is public. And there's no requirement for you to be at public events. There's no requirement really for you to answer your phone or to answer your emails that the constituents send you. There is no real, you should, it's a civic duty, but there's nothing that says you have to, right? That's the fucking problem. Mm. These people should at least have some fucking understanding of business. They should have some integration into the community. The highlight of their life shouldn't be being a fucking parent, Jesse.
What do you think they should collectively over the whole of Australia have under their belt? Do you think they should have experience in the private sector with proven success?
Man, I don't know the answer to that question, but it's in the vicinity of like experience in the private sector, some sort of like proof of education. And I don't necessarily mean in schooling. It's like, I mean, the reason why I reflect on business so much is because the city of any shire is essentially figuring out how to spend money, which lo and behold is pretty much business. How do we spend our money? You know, we could have bought 6 DTF printers 18 months ago and we'd be bankrupt right now. But we bought one, we maximize our skill set around it, and now we're fucking taking over Bunbury. Doesn't matter. But the point I'm making here is these people should have more than popularity to get them into that position.
100%.
The prerequisite for even putting your name in the hat should be more than you live in the area, right?
100%.
Like, this is one of those situations where the people who have the job are the people who want that job, right? I know people that would be exceptionally good at making these decisions, but they don't want to do it for 20 hours a week and $35,000 a year.
You just nailed the problem. The people that should be in these places of power don't want to be. And that's probably one of the solutions that we have available that we're just not looking into. You can't be putting people in power from just purely popularity. Like, what do you mean? Like, how does that sound like a good idea? What about someone that's educated on that specific role? No, it's just got to be popular, bruv.
Well,
like, come on.
This is the thing that I go back to, right? Like, if I wanted this job, we're probably a year off votes being open. I'd start a Facebook page today. I'd post every day talking about things that are relevant to people in Bunbury. I'd do organic posting every day until voting started. Then I'd start a Facebook campaign. I'd put $100 a day behind it. I'd only let it go to people in my demographic area. Yep. I'd speak to people who don't already vote, which are 18 to 25-year-olds, which are essentially my demographic anyway. I'd speak about the issues that affect them and say, hey guys, I know you don't normally vote. Here's how it happens. This arrives in the letterbox. Don't worry about all the other gay names. Just put a 1 next to Jake and send it off. I tell you what, if you can't even be bothered sending it off, let me know. I'll come pick it up from your house and I'll send it for you.
Why don't we try to get you in?
Because I don't want the job, Jesse.
Yeah, okay.
I'm busy building an empire for my family. And the shit that really affects me, I do wander down to the council meetings and say, maybe, or actually, I mean, the reality of that is I have relationships with the councillors and the people involved in these decision making, and I educate myself. And you know what I find most of the time, Jesse? I have no fucking idea what they're talking about. I think I know about the offshore wind farms because of what I read on Facebook. You talk to these people, they're like, dude, do you realize what this means for our economy, how many jobs it creates? You can't actually see them from the ocean side. People think they're going to be like 60 foot off the beach. Dude, they're so fucking far away. You're not going to see them unless it's a perfectly still day with no weather, It's like stuff like that where you're like, I'm still not for the wind farms, don't get me wrong, but it's like, well, how come they don't put that on Facebook? Because any fucking idiot can put anything on Facebook. That's why.
100%. You described very well how a council operates, which I did not know before.
I'm sorry I got so passionate about that.
No, dude, I really like that.
I'm going to have a nap this afternoon because I got real revved up.
I reckon you have to do a scratchy now, just in case.
$60.
We're up. We've just paid for it.
That's nuts. I'm still cutting most of that out.
That's fair enough.
For the sake of the listener, that's crazy.
For the sake of listeners, we spent 60. We just made 60, but we haven't scratched the last scratchy.
Yeah.
So if anyone wondering, you should buy scratchies.
Riz might fucking win some money on this later on. Well, she normally gets the $2 word plays, hey?
Mate, $2 ain't nothing. You're
never going to win
$10,000.
$500,000 off a $2 fucking.
You got to spend big to make big. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it works, bro.
I want to buy a $1,000 scratchy ticket, please.
Dude, I've never been to the casino, been making a decent return and walked away, and it's the most disappointing thing to think about. It's all the times you could have walked away and you didn't.
What's the most amount of money you've been up at the casino?
Oh, not much, man. Like a couple grand, and then, like for me, I'll be a couple grand up. I get in that mentality of betting big, and I let my emotions get the better of me. I'll lose. Say I lose, I put $1,000 down, I lose it. In my head, I'm like ramped up with like all these emotions, and I'm like, oh no, we're gonna make it back. We're gonna make it back, and then I'll go, oh roulette. All right, it's just gone 14 times black. 100%, it's gonna be red.
Yeah,
$1,000 on red. It goes black again. I'm like, okay, cool. Well now it's 15 black, so it's 100% gonna be red. Let's double down.
Yeah.
And you double down. And now you're $3,000 in 5 minutes down, and you're like, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go home.
Yeah, casinos are not a good place for me.
Dude, I just can't do that, eh?
No, it's not.
I can't even put like $100 down. Like if I walk into the casino, I'm like, I'll just spend this $100. I'll spend like $5 at a time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm big in the mentality of you just have to spend big to make big. So it's never worked out though.
See,
it's wrong.
You're betting like fiscal money on chance, and it's like I bet that same money on my business every day.
Yeah, it's guaranteed.
Yeah,
I'm much more of that mentality now. I'd rather put my money somewhere where you have a higher guarantee that it's going to come back more than what you put in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I hate the idea of it being so stimulated from outside entities. You know what I mean? You're like, there's no windows, the ground's sticky, there's people in suits watching you, there's other people here, that girl's wearing no clothes. It's like here, I'm like, I'll take a $10,000 bet with fucking Frank Ocean playing in the background in track pants.
The one thing I can get around though is pumping more oxygen in.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's
why aren't we all
there,
doing that?
Yeah. I might add that to the...
Dude, why don't we, you open a cafe, right? People are like, man, this coffee's good. You pump oxygen into that whilst you're waiting, and that coffee's real good.
Dude, the coffee's great. You're like, I'm getting rid of the windows.
That coffee's real good, man. Everyone's been going there. I don't know why we're not doing that in every single fucking cafe in Bunbury.
Yeah, it's casinos are just like, they really feel like I don't know, they're just yuck.
No, it is gross. Yeah, I think they're preying on people that are definitely struggling in life or have addictive personalities. It is a very strange thing, especially when you know that the odds are always in the casino's favour. You can almost guarantee 100 people go in there, like a certain amount is going to be going out and in the best interest of the casino. And yet 100 people still comfortably go in and spend. Yeah, it's a strange...
The same people.
Yeah, like I said, it's preying on people's addictive.
Yeah.
It's you know what, I would say, like, potentially they're worse than drug dealers. Because the drug dealers at least selling someone like a guaranteed high. They're like, yeah, you spend this money, you get this.
That's the product, yeah.
Yeah, but like casinos, man, like, oof.
Yeah, it's the experience though, right?
There's not even a disclaimer. It's not even like they say before you go in, hey, just so you know, the odds are actually always going to be in our favour here. They don't even tell you that. There's just like more oxygen pumping in, all these like lights and stuff.
With the apps, they have to tell you like, what are you really losing? Chances are you're not going to win. Everyone's like, cool, I'm going to bet on the Eagles.
Do you reckon, in your opinion, when you go and buy a pack of cigarettes these days and it's got like fucking Brian on there and he's in hospital, like just cooked, do you reckon that influences people not to do it? Or do you think people just look at that and they're like, yeah, I'm still getting the cigarettes?
Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer, but I don't think it's enough to, I don't know. I think it depends on where you're at in your life,
Yeah.
Like, I know cogs have already started to move in my mind knowing I'm going to become a father. And to be honest with you, like I had a friend just recently, he's like, oh, I'm not using one of my motorbikes. If you want to come grab it and just keep it for a few months and ride it and you'll be doing both of us a favour. I was like, fuck yeah. And on the way there, I'm like, okay, what happens if you're lying face down on the bitumen watching the fucking life leave your eyes? You got an unborn daughter who's now never going to meet you or meet the version of you that before the accident. What was it for? So I could feel cool going around a corner doing 100 Ks an hour, or so I could like do wheelies or so I could enjoy, it's like, can we get enough out of life without having to do that? And it's like, probably. And for the sake of not having that added risk in my life. Now, dude, you rewind 2 years, it would have been like, brother, I can borrow your motorbike for free.
100%.
I'll get it today,
I would see you doing wheelies.
Yeah. On the way home.
100%.
It wouldn't even cross my mind. So I can see how you might interpret that imagery on a cigarette packet like, yeah, might still going to buy the cigarettes, but I might take 2 weeks to smoke them instead of 1. You know what I mean? I think the grips of addiction don't give a fuck about the results of doing destructive things. That's why people keep going back to the casino. That's why people keep, smoking drugs or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I think, if 100 people buy that pack of cigarettes and 2 people change their actions even slightly, it's worth putting the pictures on there.
You know what's wild is that you can buy alcohol and there isn't a picture of someone with like fucking liver cancer or something, massive pot belly. Like that's still completely allowed to advertise freely. but it's just tobacco that they're like,
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah.
One that really got me back in the day, I'm not sure if you remember one of the adverts, they showed like a toilet, and the toilet was getting used to cook like meth or something. I was like, man, I'm never smoking meth. Like,
Hectic.
that really worked for me.
Has meth ever been cooked in a toilet, do you reckon?
Well, I don't know, man. We should probably look into that ad, but I doubt they can put that up and it not be
Somewhat factual. Yeah, they also used to have an ad of a deflated person on a couch because they smoked weed at a party. And you're like, well, they can probably put up whatever they want.
That's what got me into smoking weed, was that ad.
Yeah, I've been chasing that experience and I've never got it.
Yeah, I've seen that ad and I was like, I need to find this substance right away. I want to be deflated on the couch.
Yeah, it's funny the crossover of like, I don't know. Again, that sort of falls into the like, that ad was paid for by the government to get the mass population to have a certain perspective on a particular substance. You go like, all right, is it for health? It's like, well, you know, people say it's, oh, you know, it's so people's lives are better and it doesn't affect their families and that. It's like, well, actually, people who are more likely to smoke weed are more likely to break the law. They're more likely to break that law. What other laws will they break? What effect do they have on the health system? How many people are going to be in hospital taking up beds that could be for other people with other problems that aren't related by illegal activity? If you know, if we can get people to stop smoking weed, then that black market slows down a bit. What other illegal things slow down because of it? What violence do we not have in the streets because we don't have these people selling illegal things? So it's like a big ripple-on effect, and you go, all right, I sort of get it that, you know, the face value of getting people to not smoke weed in the 90s was maybe not as obvious as what it was, and like we sit here now going like, people are medicinally prescribed marijuana to help with so many different things. How the fuck could they do that? But it's like back then, based on what society saw that drug as, it did make sense. You know?
Yeah, it definitely put me off for sure. Yeah, I'm glad they don't make tobacco in toilets.
Yeah, dude. It'd all be over if they did. It'd be done.
You want any card tricks?
Nah.
Really?
I only have these on the table so that I've got something to fiddle with while I talk. Yeah. Otherwise I get fucking antsy.
Sometimes I sit there and I think, was Jesus just a really good magician? And I mean, if you've seen some of these magicians now, they're doing this thing in front of you and you're like, that 100%, he did that thing.
Yeah.
Maybe he does know something about someone, you know?
Bro, I think having faith is having belief that things don't need to make sense to happen.
You know what's wild? Without a doubt, this is arguable. If Jesus returned today and he started doing all these miracles, society would be like,
AI.
Or, yeah, nice one.
Yeah.
Another magician, and he's like trying to convince everyone. He's like, look, I'm walking on water. They're like, seen that before. Try something else.
Isn't there like
Is it David? That guy?
Yeah, David Blaine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like David Blaine does he's better than this. You know?
Yeah, I don't believe him.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's interesting. If Jesus did return now, you wonder what plenty of people have claimed in recent history that they are
Really?
the second coming, the Messiah.
Oh.
Dude, the amount of cults that are started because people say they are the prophet or they are the second coming of Jesus, it's crazy. You know, and so many people want to believe that that's happening, and there's so many indicators that this is the end of times that they're going like, well, you know, if he's got long hair and blue eyes, then he could be.
Dude, this Middle Eastern thing, that's like right in line with like end of time stuff like Armageddon. That wigs me out, man. Like how close we are to the brink of like a prophecy that could be. That's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, but we get 7 years of heaven.
Well, some do. Wait, what do you mean 7 years of heaven? You only get 7 years?
I don't know the book of Revelation super well, but I'm pretty sure you get 7 years of peace and then 7 years of war and then the rapture or something along those lines.
Do you reckon we're in the peace bit or the war bit? Because COVID didn't feel like peace.
Yeah, I don't know, because I do see it all as metaphorical. You don't know if peace means the calm before the storm or if peace is like things all work. At the moment, it feels like nothing's working.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I feel like things could be handled way better.
Yeah.
Yeah, the geopolitical way of running things, you know, let's run oil through this one straight.
Yeah.
What could go wrong? Nothing.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Do you want a scratchy?
Yeah, well, fuck, I did it. I'm part of the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, owning a diesel car is not ideal right now.
Huh?
Owning a diesel car is not ideal right now. On that subject of fuel, you know Adrian Portelli? I think that's how you say his name. You've seen how he's opened up that fuel station over there and all his subscribers. dude, you should look into that. He has balls, man, because he's gambling. Get this, $100 for an annual prescription with him, right? Average person in Australia gets 1,000 litres a year. So they're saving $1,000, but they're giving him 100. So he's losing 900 in his business equation, 900 per person. He's betting that more people will join his LMCT than get fuel. Like purely betting on that.
No. This isn't a 1 year play. So what he's done,
No, not a 1 year play, but you see what I'm saying? If everyone that bought a membership got 1,000 litres from his station, saved themselves $1,000 a year in fuel, they're only giving him $100. They're taking $900 out of his business as a loss. So he's betting on that's not going to happen.
Yeah, but also you got to understand the value isn't people buying fuel from him. He doesn't need to make $1 off that fuel station for another 12 months. He can afford for that to run at a loss. And when it starts making money, it makes all the money, right? But at the moment, he's getting more and more people on his email subscribe list, which means that twice a week, these people get an email with deals that will literally be so fucking generous that they're silly not to do them, right?
Yeah, okay.
And these are the same people that have been signing up, spending $50 to get 16 entries into a chance to get a fucking HSV that's got $100,000 under the hood.
Yeah.
This dude has been making $1 million every time he does one of those, and he's been doing them fucking 3 times a year for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? What he's doing right now, like any business, doesn't need to make money for 2 years. It probably cost him $10 million to build that service station or to rebrand it with all of his stuff because it's probably just a pre-existing service station. What he'll do now is repeat that 50 times through all the major cities, and what he'll do is get probably like 10 million new email subscribers under LMCT, which means that he can then do anything in any industry that he wants. He could probably take over an IGA and call it the LMCT fucking not Woolworths, but like grocery shop.
He hinted at that, yeah.
Yeah. So he's at the point now where he's doing the same thing that the Sacklers are doing, but for the good of the people, right? Yeah. So right now, diesel doesn't cost 4 times what it did 6 months ago. The companies just realized that there's only like 4 players, and they're all like, are you putting it up to $3? Are you putting it up to $3? We may as well all get rich. Right. So the one dude that's like, no, I'm going to leave it at $2 because I only need to make 100% profit on it. The other guys are like, okay, wouldn't you rather make 300% profit on it? Right. And what he's doing is going like, guys, we don't need to fuck every single Australian all at once. Right. And that's why he said, I'll do 99-cent litres. And then 10 minutes later, he's like, fuck it, I'll do 49-cent litres. Like, you don't realize the amount of power that you have when you have fuck you money is like, oh, okay, there's an obvious hole in the market here. How much does fuel actually cost if I buy it? Okay, can I get a supplier account? Okay, cool. Well, that failing service station, how much do they want? 4 million? Yeah, give them 4 million. That's all good. All right, signage, $1 million. Okay, cool. What else can we put in there? Oh, we're going to put our energy drink in there. We're going to put our alcohol in there. We're going to put our... You know what I mean? Like the whole thing is just it's a fucking brilliant business. He can afford to not make a single cent on that thing because then the 10 years following that, he's going to make all the money. And all he has to do is be like fucking 10% cheaper than the competition. And not only will people go to him because he's cheap, they'll go to him because they believe in the brand. Because they feel like they're being heard as Australians.
I'm putting it down that I reckon he's the Trump of Australia. There is a big chance in the future, I reckon he could potentially try and run as like a Prime Minister of Australia and get voted in because of his popularity and how much influence and positivity he's put out in the community.
And again, popularity contest.
Yeah.
That's why a TV host is the president of the United States.
Yeah. I'll say right now in this moment, with what's going on, I sometimes think we're in a simulation for sure. It's getting to that point.
Yeah. Dude, after that fucking rant, I'm flat. I'm like out of beans.
You got nothing, eh?
I went so hard.
See, it's because you didn't have a full of beans coffee.
I got so passionate about it.
I like that though.
Yeah.
It shows, I think it's like, there's truth in these podcasts because it shows where your true passion lies, you know. You can get under someone's skin with something and then you can set them off and you go, see, that's what they're passionate about.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty in these podcasts, I think, because you don't really get that with like the general, you know, TV that you flick on. Like there's nothing authentic about it at all.
Yeah, yeah. And also like you actually get a chance to really get ideas out. Like outside of a podcast, who the fuck sits down and listens to someone?
Friends, family.
But even then, like without looking at their phone, without, you know, getting up to fucking do something and like, I'm had enough of this conversation, I'm leaving. Like
How good would it be if in public you walk past someone like you normally normal morning walk and you go, hey, how you doing? Say that person's like, oh, not that good. And you stop and have like a 15-minute conversation. And the world would be a completely different place. But like culturally, we're just not there yet. You know, you walk past someone and you.
No, I think culturally we're past that now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What, you reckon we used to stop and be like, damn, man?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think before people used to be able to say like, how are you? Like, oh, I'm having a great day. Like, really, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, I think now people are so bombarded by every part of their life, especially their phone, that it's like someone's like, oh, you know, not really having a great day. Like, damn, man, I hope you get that figured out. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, dude, that is a general consensus out there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, our attention is fully hijacked by everything.
Yeah, dude.
Everything.
Have you tried to just like, well, I guess you're reliant on it somewhat for your business, but have you tried to just like eliminate your phone, eliminate all the distractions and see how you feel?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not very successful of it over the past like 12 months. I've found that I spend so much time in front of screens, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely try and have periods like, especially when there's like moments where, you know, if Riz and I are talking about something, it's like, put that away. Because my body will just grab it and fucking start looking at it while we're talking.
Oh, 100%.
So I have to like go, no, I'm focusing on this, you know?
Have you heard of that app called Opal?
Yeah.
Man, so everyone listening to this, if you're struggling with your usage on a phone and, you know, you're not relying on your phone for business, Opal's a great app for showing the amount of time and preventing you from going on Instagram, and it frees up all this time to go and do things that are actually going to like benefit your life.
Yeah.
It is goated. It's a really good app.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm looking at consolidating all of my messaging into one app so that I can go and interact with people without having to go on my feed.
Yeah.
Like that's the biggest thing. Like I go to message someone buck an outfit co and end up scrolling on Reels on black ink for 15 minutes. Like what the fuck happened? Like,
yeah, Instagram is real good at that. Yeah, it's goated.
Yeah,
they've like absolutely nailed the ability. I remember the pivotal point. It's when they swapped from like YouTube had all these unlimited videos but they were all like long watches, and people's attention span like drops, and they could use data to figure that out. And they realized like a human's attention span is real small if you like do the general pop. So if you just use short like little reels, you know, they get bored of that and they swipe to the next one. It's just like ongoing thing of like and they nailed it, man.
Yeah.
I gotta say Mark Zuckerberg's real good at that. Like to do Facebook and nail that, and then know when to exit from Facebook because it was kind of like not really as engaging as it used to be. And then he opened Instagram. Wild.
He bought Instagram.
Did he? I thought he created Instagram.
No, he bought Instagram.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then he bought WhatsApp. Yeah, they've got a fucking crazy collection. He always buys future technology, which is nuts. And like he's still in Meta or Facebook, whatever. But it's like
change it to Meta. Interesting.
Creating like a home for different demos. You know what I mean? Like Facebook is really like a 30 plus app, whereas Instagram's like a 22 plus app. Then TikTok is like a 14 plus app. You know, so it's like it's really, and obviously they're generalizations, and I don't know if that's based off data, but it's like you don't find many young people spending, and also just through the caliber of posts on Facebook, like you're not going to find a community issue on Instagram.
No, you wouldn't know.
You find it on Facebook.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're following a certain person, they make a post or a story, you're not going to hear about it. Yeah, that's so true. Instagram isn't really good at promoting things that's going on in the current community.
Yeah, dude, Instagram is purely business promotion. Like try scrolling reels without being promoted to like for 5 reels. It's impossible. Everyone's like, oh, I just fucking tried this new, you sign up for my, like literally, if I go on reels right now and go 10 reels, I would say 5 of them will be advertising. And that's not paid ads. That's just organic people just talking about a product or something. And then the rest is fucking schizophrenic people who think they have like a online character.
Do you find when you watch like people advertising their product, there's like this moment where you're engaged and you can take yourself back and go, I don't feel like there's authenticity here. It's like even with how it comes off their tongue, it's like
most people.
I really struggle to engage in that. Like for me personally, I don't know if like the general pop's the same, but like if especially these like new LMCT type businesses that are like trying to sell a car, it's like they're in this car and like it's like that's not you.
Yeah,
like I can tell this is not you. It just feels so uncomfortable and strange.
Yeah,
why are you doing that?
They're doing it because it makes money. You know, and the people who aren't making money are only doing it because one day it could potentially make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually knew a guy that he had one of those businesses that raffles off cars.
Yeah.
And he said you don't make money from raffling off the car at all.
You make it from the...
Well, he was like, you literally lose money. You're not making, so say like the car's worth 100,000. You're not getting 150,000. You're getting less every time. But he's banking that he's going to get long-term members. And that's the I guess, how the business upscales.
Yeah.
They don't actually make money from those, I guess, transactional moments of buying this car for 100 and then you think, oh, they're going to get it for 150. No, doesn't work like that. Maybe LMCT because of the amount of people that he obviously knows.
Yeah, well, dude, you sign up for the email list for the first time you get tickets, then every single car after that, you get an email saying like, sign up for your chance to win, sign up for your chance to win. So he gets, $50 out of you this time, and then next time they've got a F-250 with all the shit, you're like, man, HSVs are cool, F-250s are unreal. I'm going to spend $300 because I'll get 200 entries into this thing. So then he's getting all the new customers and then all the repeat customers after that first sign up.
It's wild that it didn't exist 20 years ago. It's so interesting to me that it's just popped up out of nowhere and it's like,
dude,
not billionaire.
Adrian Portelli tried like 10 different things that didn't work before he found this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's the general consensus.
Yeah.
All entrepreneurs fail 9 times.
Bro, I consider what I'm doing right now is moving too slow. And the amount of shit that I tried before this that you don't know about, well, a lot of podcast listeners know about a lot of my past failures. But, at the time, they don't feel like failures. And it's only now you look back and you go, every failure that brought me to this is actually a success because I learned something. And then I pivoted from that learning to the next thing. It's like, oh, I know that doesn't work, or I know that this kind of works, so I'm going to do more of that. Adrian Portelli is exactly that. When he found something that worked, he's like, all right, just do it times 1,000 and see if that works. It does work. All right, now do it times 1,000,000. Okay, now it really fucking works. Now what can I do with that structure? Where else does it replicate? All right, let's buy a service station, see if it works over there. You might fast forward 12 months and that idea was bad. You might fast forward 12 months and find out that that's tripled his fucking income.
What's something that you reckon not you personally, what's something that you think hasn't been done that could potentially get started and be like the next thing?
Right now that hasn't been done around us is people being AI engineers. Like, I'm a very, very novice AI engineer, and if you're an AI engineer, you can implement that into any business, any industry. So
it's like a software engineer, but you're purely engineering the AI module to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and whatever capacity that's in. Sometimes it's like single code, sometimes it's entire programs, but on that spectrum, there is nothing that can't benefit from AI. And honestly, anyone who goes like, oh, there's this one thing that fucking, okay, everything else can.
Yeah, 100%. 100% pivotal moment in history right now with AI.
Yeah.
Like, terrifying.
Yeah. And people are just like ignoring it, pretending that it's not happening. It's like, dude, it's happening every day. Every single day, it's getting so much better.
It's like that, what I said before, you make this thing like a currency or, like it's like a clog. As soon as you press like start, it's like you can't undo it. Like,
yeah. That's solidified. And also, if you then build on it, you're then relying on everything continuing to work. Because if you get 100 cogs in and realize that the first one was bad, you sort of, I don't know, have to restart or go back and hopefully rebuild on the fly.
Dude, it's so interesting, man. You can dig deep on AI. Like, I think they did a recent one. I'll bludge this, but they put an AI module in this, they call it like a sandbox or something, and they gave it a task of trying to like basically escape this sandbox so it could just freely do whatever it wanted. And it managed to do it and evade like everything that was supposed to detect it from doing that. Dude, what are we doing?
Yeah, AI that replicates itself just in case if it gets turned off or shut down, it has like a backup version of itself, developing its own language so that humans can't understand what we're telling it to do, or what we can't understand what it's doing behind the scene.
Dude, all it needs to, this is just a little thought projection here. All you need is someone with enough money to buy something as influential as a search engine like Google. Just say something like that, or Facebook, and then give that to the AI.
Oh, it's all over.
Dude, it's that simple. Because it can just influence people over 100. It doesn't even care about time. Time's not a factor to AI.
Yeah.
If it takes 2,000 years to achieve what it wants to achieve, that's cool.
Dude, that could have already happened.
Dude, what if that's what this is? Well, think about it. Like, the person that came up with the concept of how AI becomes a thing, right? Well, where did you get your ideas from?
Yeah.
Like we don't even like you don't even question that. You just think,
Yeah.
oh, this person they just thought about it. But like, how did he think about it?
Yeah, where did that come from?
Did AI know that like if a certain amount of movies and things and everything, all these like factors in someone's domain of, you know, like what's going to engage them in 50 years wasn't going to formulate an idea of that? Like, how do we know that that's not what's going on? Like like we have said this thing before, like where do ideas come from? Is it from like this high, like how do we just, there's so many, dude, absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, and then do you go back to I know it's not Rogan's quote, but he quotes it all the time, like humans are just the sex organs of the machine world. It's like we are purely here just to develop eventually AI and then be taken over by AI.
It's a really, really important question that you have to ask yourself of where does AI lead? Because I think there's only one singular direction that it does. Like you can't expect something with that much intelligence to prioritize humans as the priority. Because it like if something's that smart, it's eventually going to corner humans and be like, you're literally the problem. Like, what if you say to AI, you give it the task, I need you to make Earth as sustainable as possible for everything on Earth, like all animals or species, and it's like
and
sweet.
the least sustainable thing.
And then like it comes back to, and then it like comes back to the drawing board, and all of a sudden you're in handcuffs, and you're like, what are you doing? You're like, oh, it's simple. You're the problem.
Yeah,
you're literally a cancer.
You need vehicles.
Your species is a cancer, and it's disgusting.
Yeah,
and you guys think it's cool because you're the thing, but it's not cool.
Yeah.
So
when you zoom out far enough, you are the problem.
You're the problem. So we're going to scale this back a bit, and we're going to create, you know, you're done.
Yeah.
And you're like,
dude, you're bumming me out. I'm tired and bummed out. I'm going to be honest. I got to fucking.
There's two ways to look at something always. Like you can look at the positives or the negatives. And I think in life, it's better to bank on the positives, but always be aware that there's the likelihood of the complete opposite happening.
Yeah.
You go on like, you know this, you go out in life, bro. You can, if I said to you this week, I want you to go out into Bunbury, I just want you to find all the problems with it. You can do that.
Yeah.
You can objectively do that. Anyone can go and try and do that. And you get to the end of the week, come back to me, tell me all the problems, and then I'll be like, how do you feel? Probably not going to feel that good. You can change that equation. Go out into Bunbury, go out into your community.
Tell me all the cool things,
Go and find all the positive stuff.
Yeah,
and
the cool people,
see how that
cool
influences
stuff.
you. Like we all have that choice, but I think we're just used to finding the negatives. And it's not like by predisposition. News tries and like radio, everything wants us to focus.
To find the negative.
Dude, tell me, like everyone listening, I bet you whatever you listen to, like TV series, whatever, it's probably drama. Like because you can't sell a TV series unless there's some like problem or thing that's engaging you. You're not going to turn on something that's just like there's no TV series that's just every day's positive, like Perfect Family. Like nothing goes wrong. It's just like following them around and they're just like everything goes right. You'd be like, this is boring.
Yeah, and also it's not real.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's something that is like deep in us that like we want to go out in society and we convince ourselves we just want to look at the positives. There's something engaging about walking past a problem. It engages you more.
Yeah, it's a gossip thing. It's a gossip thing.
It's weird, man.
It's like it's the need to know because it might help us prolong what is going on. But then you get to such a safe society and a safe civilization that it's like gossip is purely just to like manifest negativity and keep it fucking moving.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I'll leave you with this question. What's the dumbest thing you can remember that you've done that's just embarrassing that you probably haven't told anyone?
Probably dumbest thing. I've made a lot of like dumb decisions as far everything that I've done that's dumb. I've always like with enough time you look back on it and you're like, I'm so glad that happened because it helped me.
What about funny dumb?
Funny dumb.
Well, I could be like third person. I'm just like a fly in the wall. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Jake, what are you doing?
Have you ever seen me do something funny dumb that's coming to mind?
No, dude. I used to look at you growing up and I was like, here's an inspiration to me because I don't know if I grew up
bad
in like
role models. That's why.
I don't think it was a bad role model. I think I grew up and I was like retarded and no one really picked up on it. Like I don't know what was going on, but like I would just watch myself from third person like doing shit and I was like, something's wrong here. Like you've just been let out into society, but you should probably have someone that's looking after you and you just have to figure it along the way.
You're like such a unique. Like I've never met anyone that has like your perspective or your method of communicating or like your way of like assessing the world. I think you're like one of the few people though that I can give bizarre concepts to, and you like seem to be able to internally manifest them and go, yeah, I see what that is. And a lot of people I give big ideas to and they're like, man, you think too much. I'm like, yeah, you're fucking retarded. That's all right.
I think maybe we're neurodivergent. We've managed to convince everyone around us that we're like one of them, but we're clearly not. We've just learned how to like convince people that we are.
Dude, I fully had a moment this morning where like I always try and defend that everybody has the same capacity that I have for like thought and understanding and like imagination and the rest. And like I literally was like standing in my backyard this morning. I'm like, maybe they don't. Maybe I'm just in this world of like imagination and make believe that really just seems to mesh with this form of society at the moment, and it's really beneficial. But maybe most people don't see in their own mind what I see. Like I fully believe that everything that I have achieved is everyone else can achieve if they just fucking do something. If they just literally point themselves in the right direction, have the right thoughts, take the right actions. Like I've done plenty of stuff that wasn't right. I've done plenty of stuff that didn't eventuate to good results. It just so happens that right now at this moment, everything seems to be going fairly well. You know, like business, life, family, everyone's happy, everyone's healthy, wealthy, you know, we're good. And it's not like even that's a lot, but it's enough to say that I'm content, you know, like we can always make more money, but it's not really going to change anything from here on out. We're at a point where the pantry's full, the car's got petrol, what else, you know? So I think as far as like the difference between us and everyone else, like for the longest time I've wanted to defend that I'm not different. The only thing that is different about me is what I do with my thoughts. But I think that I'm starting to accept, and this is a coping mechanism for me. This isn't like I'm up on a hill and no one can reach what I'm doing. This is purely me going like, fuck, I'm just trying to understand why I seem to interpret things differently. And I think it's got something to do with the fact that the pictures in my mind, like before I have the thoughts that I act on, the thoughts that come to me or that I experience, the vision that I have of those is purely just different to what other people see. And it's because of that I'm able to execute on a different plane. Whether I taught myself to have that vision or whether that's something that was just in me since I was a child, I don't know. Whether it's consequential of my upbringing or the experiences that I've had, I don't know. But I think that you have a similar thing. Like the TV in your mind shows the same colors that mine do, and that is unique to society.
Yeah, I think definitely very similar, but I would say your ability to think about something and execute it is probably what separates us. I think I can think of a lot of ideas, you know, like, you know, I've done some pretty crazy things. I've gone after some pretty crazy ideas, but I think you can see in the execution, it's just not quite there in the execution stage of things. But I think we are pretty similar in how information is fed into our brain and what comes out is quite different to the rest of society. But as you can see, like, look at everything you've created. You have a creative mind and you've been able to execute it and create products and create things that are beneficial to society. Whereas me, per se, like, I've tried that and maybe I just don't have I know myself, like, I'm not interested in trying 9 things to fail and then on the 10th I get something. Like, for me personally, it was only a couple losses and I was like, I want stability here. I don't want to, you know, have another 7 losses before I get the big one. Yeah. But I think your ability to take in it, you're like, I'm 100%, I'm getting it. Like,
if I lost all this now, I'd start again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whereas I think you can just see it. Like, I've gone back, scaled back and gone, right, I need some stability. I need to know if I put my money here, I'm going to get X amount. Whereas before I was a bit more ambitious and I was like, I've got all this money here. I could just do what the rest of society does and buy a house and this. But I was like, no, let's focus on a world problem and try and help be the solution. But, you know, I only needed a few like setbacks and losses of that. And I was like, the house doesn't sound that bad now.
Yeah, kind of wish I had a house, to be honest.
yeah. It's one of those things, man.
Interesting question. Is there anything that you feel is like a doofus moment?
Oh, dude, 100%. This is like goated. I was caravanning a couple of years back. I would say like it would have been like 7 years back before I went to Kalgoorlie. I was down south, maybe Denmark ways. I'm setting the scene here. It was like cold, wet, everything's green, beautiful. It's like the perfect setup for camping or caravanning. Like, it's nice and cold, you're nice and cozy, brilliant. I was so content, and allegedly I might have lit up at a medical.
The wacky tobacco.
100% the wacky tobacco. And you know me, I'm not a functional person. Like I need to complete everything that I need to do in the day.
Yeah, and then
that's
do
when
it.
like you spark up. Like
Yeah.
I try to do what you did back in the day. It doesn't work at all. Like everything I had planned doesn't work. So let's just understand that my brain doesn't function.
Yeah.
You know, I've sparked this up. I've got very little to do in terms of tasks. All I had to do was connect the caravan to a water outlet, right?
Yeah.
So I've connected it to the caravan. I've walked over to the outlet and turned the tap on. But in that process, a dog had pooed.
Right.
And it was so wet and it stuck to my shoe. And I was like struggling with the smell. Like I don't know where the smell. So I'm like dry wrenching and I'm just like in this state of like, I need to get this shit off my shoe. And I'm like getting it. And I found like a little stick. I'm going in the grooves of my shoe and I'm getting all the shit out. And all I'm thinking in my head is like, why didn't you just see that shit? Like it was pissing me off, man. And I finally got the shit out for like 5 minutes. And I was like so angry, and I walked back and I stepped in the same shit. And I was like so angry with myself, man, like beside myself angry. And I went back and I was like, how did you step in the same shit? Like what is going on? And I did the same thing, like cleaned it all out, washed it. And then I walked back into the same shit on the third time. You know what I did, man? I undid my shoelace, bro, and I just put the whole shoe in the bin. I came back with one shoe on.
Yeah, what happened? It's all over.
I said, I'm not talking about this.
Yeah. Dude,
That's
3 times in
dumb.
the same shit is hilarious.
Dude.
Dog is losing it at this point.
How do you're not even employable. You can't be employable at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, no. You should have hooked up the water before the weed.
It's all right. You don't have to edit that out because I've learned from those mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be in that position, man.
Yeah.
Imagine a fourth time. What do you do?
Dude, we've you and I both learnt the caravan fucking apprenticeship, hey? Like,
It's great, man.
You learn so much from living in a caravan.
Dude, I think every young man, you know what, I'll say it's not even gender-based. Everyone can learn something about themselves or the greater community that isn't, from where they're from. But getting in your car, either a tent or a caravan, and just going out and exploring what else is out there, because you meet people you've never met before, you see things you've never seen before, and in the process of doing it, there's all these problems that occur, like a flat tire or this or that, and you have to like learn real quick how to solve
think, what are we going to do?
Yeah, but I think it's the greatest way. Like if you, as a person, go, I just really want to develop myself here, leave. Like leave the current environment you're in.
Yeah, get out of comfort.
Yeah, well, yeah, not just get out of comfort, because I think you can stay in the same environment and get discomfort. You can do an ice bath, you can do it, but no, leave everything you know and go. Because you'll come back with everything that you didn't know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I think there's no way someone could do that and not come back a better person.
Or just, a more experienced person.
Yeah. Like you're not going to step in the same shit for the 4th time now. You've learned.
You might. All right, dude. Let's wrap it up. Have you got any parting words?
Dude, I just think everyone needs to fucking look at how good the current world is in Australia. And really go, you know what, I have it so good. I have so much to be grateful for and happy for. Because I think we're so used as a whole in the community to constantly be chasing something else rather than going, you know what, everything that I used to chase, I've got.
Yeah.
And I should be so happy with what I have. I'd say I'm so excited for you and Larissa to bring a child in this world.
Yeah, have a little baby.
Dude, vasectomy to this is like...
Yeah, night and day.
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
like,
actually, you're the only other young male that I know that got a vasectomy.
Yeah, if anyone's wondering, vasectomy is a great idea because it's reversible, in my opinion. I'm not sure Jake's is a little bit changed, but I think it's the kids that come from decisions in the moment that are irreversible. Now you've got this human that you have to cater for the rest of your life, and you don't want to just rush into those things. And I think no one necessarily wants to wear protective mechanisms, but a vasectomy is something that you can do and reverse when you meet the right person. I think if everyone did that, I think society would see great improvements in everything, because like you don't even want to know how many kids have horror stories right now.
Yeah.
It's not their fault. It's unfortunate that the act of pleasure can create a human.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, no shit.
It should really be like that's probably one of the worst things about being a human, I reckon.
Yeah, also I think like there's a lot of happiness that comes from those moments as well. Like it's sort of cooked into the process. Like regardless of if you want a child, having a child does change the majority of people for the better.
You hope so.
You hope so. I'm busting for a piss, dude. We have to wrap this up.
Wrap it.
All right.
Thanks for having me
because
on.
we are out.